How are we, chat? How are we doing?
Hello. Hi,
How
everyone.
how is everyone's weekend going? Oh, how are we? Is the music okay? I've turned it down quite a bit. I've turned it down quite a bit. If I can turn it up if you want, I can turn it down more. It doesn't need to be turned down more, does it? You guys just let me know. I got a bit of a sore
Mhm.
throat today, everybody. So if my voice breaks or I need to be quiet, drink some water, and let Zarrek take over, you'll have to forgive me. But I will do my best. I will do
Yeah,
my best.
it's just been so damn hot. The whole week. It's been inescapable.
Mm. Ice water is wonderful, though.
Ah, Carbon 6 asking the question. Oh, Receptor, thank you for subscribing with Prime.
What's the question? I've lost Carbon Six's comment.
Uh,
Cannot
the
see it.
question is, what does alt faction mean?
That's a good question. We'll come back to that in a sec. Let's just have a look at
We
chat for
will,
a
we
little bit
will.
first. Sweating like a dog for real. Absolutely, my dude.
Me too. Oh,
How's it going,
Tezik,
Lucifer?
thank you so much for subscribing.
Tezik says, I have missed Tom's voice. I've missed my voice as well, my dude.
And Jev with a subscription as well for 5 months in a row. Thank you so much, Jev.
Jeff says, are we talking about the leagues? Hope so. Thank you for the great content. Maybe not. No, I will explain
Well,
what what we mean by alternate factions in a bit. I will
not them directly, at
apologize.
least.
I will apologize in advance, though, for the uh a bit too ambiguous title because we actually behind the scenes there was some confusion that was only corrected maybe 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Because of said ambiguity. But hey, it'll be okay. You'll understand what we mean in just a sec. Let's just get through some more. Let's just get through some more chat first. Welcome to the chat, J Stone Mist. Where do I get this template? It is pinned in one of our announcements, I believe, in the Discord. It's somewhere in the Discord. If you jump in the Discord and ask around, you will find it. I know it's in there somewhere. It's linked to a drive. There's a bunch of layers, so you can put it in GIMP, Krita, or Photoshop, whichever poison tickles your pickle, and you can work on it without having to worry about like it all just being one layer. Um, so yeah, Aragon says, "I fucking love homebrews that aren't marines. Observe my charts. Your charts give me a headache. I've seen your charts. They
I've
requ-
not. Send me your charts.
they require an index.
Find my charts.
Nova Scotia cool right now. It's absolutely pissing with rain. I would swap that for this in a heartbeat. Nick says,
Yes.
Tom, how do I quit my bean addiction? I've made beans every day this week. That's called ascending, my friend. There's nothing to quit. You are doing well. Um,
Someone's grabbed Yoda's first grabbed their Saturnine box and has a model of Fafnir Ran for their first ever army. Oh hell yeah.
Fafnir Ran is a very, very fun model. A very cool model. He has a unique 4 exhaust ported Mark III backpack that's very, very nice.
Oh my god, Aragon just sent me the chart. Holy shit, this is oh my god.
Oh, you looking at it? Yeah, it's absolutely fucking hectic.
Oh, this is something else, Aragon. I'm gonna have to sit with this. Oh
Aragon,
my
put that in
lord.
stream discussion in the Discord so anyone who's in there can see how jolly obsessed you are. Thank you for the 23 bits, Linky. Much appreciated. And thank you for the like
What?
the several instances of 1 bit earlier. That's very, very good.
Just throwing pennies at us.
Let's see. You've also ordered Dominion Zephon, which should arrive in a month. It's just the teaser, lol. Dominion Zephon is another really fun model. He's one of the only Space Marines that's missing like 3 out of 4 limbs. Let's see. Anything else before we move on? I got my hand on Black Crusade Traitors. Hate loving it. Ah, very cool, man. Who's Shalaxi? I'm gonna Google that.
Oh, Shalexi Hellbane. It's the named Keeper of Secrets model.
Oh, of course. I feel like I knew that. Yep.
I forget. Did they actually have a datasheet in 40k, or are they just Age of Sigmar? Because I know Sinessa and Dexessa are just Age of
Oh.
Sigmar, despite being demons.
Shalaxi does indeed have a 40k data sheet.
Right. They are in 40k. Shalaxia is, yeah, but Sinessa and Dexessa are not, which I find so weird.
The Keeper of Secrets designed specifically to fuck over the Inari, Carbon says.
That makes sense.
Fun fact, we had to close my work at McDonald's because our AC broke on the hottest day this week. Well, I'm glad you got sent home. Fuck trying to do like kitchen work in those temperatures, man. That sounds like ass.
Oh no, a wee while ago actually, was cooking a bit late at night, and it was this past week, so it was just so hot, and I nearly got heat stroke, genuinely, because I was like rolling out dough to make wraps right next to like a burning hob, and I was just getting way too hot.
Oh, someone's given me an opportunity to talk about conspiracy theory. Federal Fish asks, do you think Custodes are getting a plastic Telemon based on the faction focus? Not only do I think they're going to get a plastic Telemon, I think their new Telemon in plastic is going to be far more visually revised than the Galadius or the Achilles. I think what they're going to do is they're going to completely remodel the Telemon, and they're going to redo some of its lore to make it fit in with Saturnine, and they're going to make it unfathomably fucking massive. I think the Telemon is going to get a complete overhaul in the next 12 months. But that's just
keep getting bigger.
But that's just a theory. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Sat9. I know, I've made that clear, but I am a big fan of the Custodes having the biggest ever dreadnought once again. So, you know, one step back, one step forwards. You know, everything evens itself out in the end.
Someone says, I think word bearers are coming soon to 40k as the Defiler has a word bearer head option. I wouldn't bet on it. I'd love that. I love my word bearers. They're one of my favorite like chaos armies, but I don't think it's likely. It'd be cool though.
Is there a word bearer's Defiler head?
There is. There's one for them and the Iron Warriors.
Oh yeah, it's got a bit of a bit of like runic something on it.
It does.
It's fine. We'll see. I think it's really hard to see word bearers getting singled out for their own stuff because they are like thematically.
Oh, music stuttering.
Music stuttering. I'll pause it for a minute. I'll bring it back in a minute. Because it's like thematically they've always to me at least seemed on par with the Black Legion for the generic chaos faction, you know?
Yeah. Like they were there in the which Dawn of War was it? Whatever one it was. For several probably actually. They were the bad guys. I know they were for Dark Crusade.
Oh, Cold Water is amazing.
Right, Dawn of War in general, says Gobby. Gobbo Party. Yeah. Oh.
One day we will get another dreadnought that can be used to bludgeon your opponent when they say the most horrendous misinformation unironically. You don't need to bludgeon them. Not straight away, at least. If someone says some misinformation and you know it's misinformation, the first thing you do is you politely correct them. And then if they say the following words, well, I saw on TikTok, that's when you bludgeon them. Yeah.
Oh, dude. You know what? What I wouldn't do for GW to do a made to order for the metal box knot. That would be really nice.
Oh. Yeah, they should redo the metal Hive Tyrant. That thing was a weapon.
Oh god. Actually, you know what I'm really upset is gone from the web store now?
What's that?
The Dark Eldar Tantalus.
Sorry, Zarrek. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not Googling what that is.
Look, it's their very big boat. It's really cool.
Oh yes, the fucking elf pirate barge.
Yeah.
God, I'm really not good with my Eldar range.
Can't get the Tantalus anymore. No, that's right.
Wait, what? It's not what?
What's this?
They're not selling it.
No, it's gone as far as I'm aware. I don't think you can find it on the web store.
Oh, I'm going to the web store. There's no way. That's like
I know.
wasn't it somewhat recently that like carried the faction in comp?
Yes.
Oh, Xenos armies, Drakari,
Yeah, it's gone.
filter, fly, I guess, vehicle.
Oh, you don't need to filter it. It's the Dark Eldar range. They cut it like a lot this past edition.
So it's not an old build for the Ravager of the Raid. Oh no, of course it's not. It's too big.
No, it's a Forge World thing.
Shit, it is gone.
It's gone. I'm so upset. I really wanted one.
Oh, that's tragic.
Yeah, I think it's been gone a long time actually.
Oh, Dark Eldar, stay losing, I guess.
It's just hard to notice.
Welcome to the chat, Saga Lord. Wow, how many bits? Linky says, how many bits to have you guys look at the mini I sent to Zarrek? We aren't going to be putting any. We're not going to be putting any stuff on the screen today, Linky. That is not for today's stream, but maybe another time.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say, Linky has sent me. You know that classic like Space Marine holding a plasma gun, but also holding up a hand to his face to like shield it, like holding the plasma gun all the way out. Linky's done that, but has actually done it for one of her homebrew chapter.
Oh,
doing
very
that,
cool.
which is great.
Oh, the old. I hope this doesn't blow my face off pose.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Linky, but is that Marine on a 25 mil base? I could swear. That's wonderful to see, actually.
Well, Linky almost. Correct me if I'm wrong, Linky, but Linky almost exclusively models for 4th Ed.
Ah, that makes sense.
Which is, it's just slowly becoming the only way to play 40k and not be increasingly depressed all year round.
Dude, I am actually not upset with 11th edition because I don't care because I'm playing.
Yes.
I'm playing M35. I'm all happy.
The old this can't hurt me if I don't pay any attention to it.
Exactly. And luckily, I do have for myself 3 old land speeders that I got off of eBay. I am not currently feeling cheated.
Right. So, let us talk about what the topic of today's stream actually is and what it actually means. So, I came with an idea a number of weeks ago now to do a stream where we talk about homebrewing alternative factions. And a number of you, including Zarrek, came to the conclusion that what I meant by that was homebrewing anything but Space Marines. Which I do see now that is a reasonable conclusion to draw, even if that isn't what I meant. What I meant was homebrewing factions that are typically almost never homebrewed, or homebrewed very rarely, and factions that, generally speaking, do not have a tabletop or store presence. Or if they do, they have an exceedingly minimal one. Now, Zarrek has made some notes on some factions that do have a store presence, but are very, out there and have been, definitely somewhat neglected by Games Workshop. We're not going to talk about homebrewing Crotalid's Lehman. I think that one is a bit... That's a bit out there.
They might fall under one of those categories.
Hey, they could do. They technically do, I guess. So what we're going to do, guys, is we have some notes and some things about a bunch of minor factions that I'll read the list off, right? And then what we'll do, guys, is we'll let you, chat, decide where we start, and then we'll kind of take it from there. If that sounds like it works for everyone?
Yeah. Also, someone's saying in chat, Dark Mech? No, actually. I want to let you guys know, I am getting my notes together for a fully dedicated homebrewing Mechanica stream, because I want to do that at some point.
Well, that will include... It
needs to be done.
But isn't that, 2 weeks from now? Because we...
It is.
That is 2 weeks from now. So that'll get, way more than just, a passing little thing. Beavers in the Dam says, hell yeah, I like miners. Good for you, buddy. You should see someone. You should see someone about that.
What? Oh, also, Liam in the Bold says, "Hey Zach, my latest chapter was founded in M35. Is that tickling the tism for you? You know it. You know it."
Oh, might have to ask you about that faction. Might have to ask you about that later.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Krabby Ink says kill that guy. Yeah, yeah, go for it, my dude. You have my blessing. Kill that guy. So, I'm gonna read out the list of the factions, and then you guys can maybe start to tell us where to go. If you want to ask what that faction is because you've never heard of them before, then we can explain. We can explain. In fact, we might have to do. Actually, I'll explain them as we go anyway. I think is fair. So the first one. Oh,
So is this the Beaver and the Dam saying minor factions? Well, yeah, in brackets, everyone, quote unquote minor.
yeah. I might need you to take this one over for me in a sec, Zarrek, because I feel my throat like
Oh, okay.
giving up on me. I'll get as far as I can, and then I'll
Yeah.
like my voice will break, and I'll say your name, and I'll cry in a corner whilst you take over.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one, and remember, chat. Once we've listed these all off, you can let us know where you want us to start, and we'll just go from there, right? So the first one is Crusader houses. Crusaders are the melee power armor. Well, they're technically carapace armor, and then is described like power armor in every way imaginable. They are They are melee pseudo power armored mortals with power weapons and power shields that specialize in the absolute peak of melee combat that a mortal is capable of. And they are often used by the Inquisition and the Ecclesiarchy. They come in their own houses, almost like night houses. They're very cool. I guarantee you've seen them before. There's there used to be a couple of Crusader models, actually. And they're very, very cool.
Ones.
Yep. The next thing is Chaos Cults. So not just Chaos Space Marines with a cult attached, but actual Chaos Cults. And other cults as well. It turns out, guys, there are cults in 40k that aren't Chaos, believe it or not. There's a bunch of precedent we have to go off on that, some of which might have something to do with vampires, and I may flap about that later, if you ask me to. Then there's homebrewing Necromunda gangs. We have loads of precedent to go wild with this. Certainly say Necromunda gangs if you don't want to hear from me at all, and you just want Zarrek to talk for like 30 minutes, because I'm sure that's how you do it. Harlequins is another one. Harlequin Masks is another big Zarrek one. So this is where we had a bit of that disconnect, because they are technically a mainline faction, but they are so fucking neglected by Games Workshop and have been for so long that you could be mistaken for believing they were an alternative faction. The same being the next one, which is Dark Eldar. Zarrek has a lot of notes planned for Dark Eldar. Next one after that is totally homebrewed Xenos. So making your own Xenos from the ground up. There's, again, loads of precedent in the setting to do that. The next one is Night and Chaos Knight Household Guard. If you I don't know if you knew this or not, but night houses have their own auxiliaries called Household Guards. I think something that is true of both Loyalists and Chaos. The next one is Exodite, another big Zarrek one, which actually is an alt faction. Sadly, that is that actually is straight up an alternative faction. That is not on the cards ever. Then there's Navigator houses, which I think is a really, really fun one to homebrew, because it's, even though it's not necessarily a military thing, it's so deeply ingrained in not just the Imperium's military, but in the Imperium like whole. Then we have Assassin Cults, which is another really interesting one that's had some model representation over the years. Dating back quite far, actually, but never like a full thing to go fully into them. Although, if I remember correctly, there's some TTRPG books that go quite extensively into Assassin Cults, I think.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
I hope you guys are thinking about what faction you want us to talk about. And then there's Chaos Demons. Turns out there is loads of room to homebrew your own Chaos Demons. Obviously, this is going to be within the Pantheon. If anyone brings up Malice, I'm going to take Zarrek and fold her into a pretzel. You can mention Malice. I'll just pretend that I didn't see it, though. Then there's
Malice is a nothing burger. I know it.
And then there's Agents of Chaos, or Chaos Inquisitors, Chaos Infiltrators. That's its whole own thing as well. And finally, minor inquisitorial ordos. Again, it's a thing that exists in the universe. It's a huge thing that exists in the universe, but has no model representation. And very, what's the word? Very sparse lore representation. It's a
Mm-hmm.
fun one. It leaves a lot of space to homebrewing. So, Crusader houses, cults and chaos cults, Necromunda gangs, Harlequins, Dark Eldar, homebrewed Xenos, Knights and Chaos Knight Guard, Exodites, Navigators, Assassin cults, Chaos demons, Agents of Chaos like Chaos Inquisitors, and minor Ordos. So, where do you want us to begin?
Mm-hmm. We have some people asking about what exactly we mean by assassin cults, and this refers to essentially any of the assassin groups that aren't explicitly part of the actual assassinorum.
Yeah.
There are a number of death cults and like blade cults and other groups throughout the Imperium that are niche little groups of specialists in particular ways of dealing death,
Yeah.
and they get brought up for all sorts of things, mainly Inquisitor stories. You'll get plenty of those in Dan Abnett novels.
Oh, we got a real spread here. Come on, guys. If you've not typed one in chat, come on, give us one. Ordos or cults would be cool, says Depot Doom. Harlequins, Night Guard. We got a couple of Night Guard cults, more cults. Can you write these down? Yeah, I'll fucking write them down. Hold up. They can copy and paste.
We have a
There you
couple
go.
things of Exodites in there.
There is no commas between them. This is all technically one horrific sentence. There you go, guys. Knights. We've got knights again. Well, it's not knights, it'd be knight auxilia, ostensibly. Navigator houses.
Mhm.
Thank you for the 200 bits, Tim. Much appreciated, my dude. Navigator houses and homebrew demons for me. Navigator houses would be really cool. Such a narrative thing you can do as well, because you kind of have to. It's like a whole homebrew of culture characterization and notable contributions, rather than, oh yeah, we won this battle. You know, another one for Chaos Knights. Again, it's not Knights, it's just their auxilia, because Knights aren't an alt faction, they are absolutely a mainstay faction. In fact, if I remember correctly, for a bunch of editions now, Chaos Knights have been pretty spicy on the tabletop.
They have indeed.
More homebrew demons, custom demons, really wide range here. I think Knight Auxilia is coming out on top by a little bit, and then probably Navigators afterwards. I think I'm seeing a lot of that.
Interesting.
Homebrew Crusade, Aragon, silence. Can I mute Aragon? I can. I'm not going to, but Aragon, I hope you know that I can. Let me close that. Custom demons. There's a lot of custom demons. Though. Tell you what, Zarrek, I've put all this pressure on chat to choose, and I'm going to put it on you instead now.
Oh, wonderful. So what would you say are some of the most popular ones going at the minute, Tom? Just what are our top ones?
There's been a lot of Knight Auxilia, Knight and Chaos Knight Auxilia. That's come up a lot, I think. Like Household Guard, that's come up a lot. Custom Demons has come up a lot, because that's like, there's characters there. If you custom Demons, it's like you're making characters, right? Which is, I think, which interests a lot of people. I'm gonna mute Linky real quick for spam. Can I time Linky out?
We're not talking about Necrons today. They're a plenty big faction.
Where's Linky? There we go. You can time Linky out. There you go.
Okay.
Custom Xenos is coming up quite a bit. That's quite fun, because you've actually made custom Xenos before, haven't you?
Oh, of course. The Ogux Raiders.
Yeah, which is it's really fun. Knights again, Xeno Knights. What the fuck?
Oh, I suppose that's true. You know, like Wraith Knights and Gargants and things.
Technically, that's technically a thing. Yeah, I suppose you made your own homebrew Xenos faction, and then homebrew your own Xeno Knights as well.
I might have to get the Liber Xenologis out, because I think there are some that come up in there, like the Sepulchari.
That's interesting.
Do you remember the artwork for that with like a giant like corpse the size of a tower?
Tell you what, should we start with custom demons? Let's start with custom demons, and we'll circle back, because I think that's one we can both do. No one's told me to let Linky out of jail yet, so Linky can stay there for a bit, I think. I don't even know how to let Linky out of the jail, to be honest, guys. So it's for 10 minutes only, though. Linky will be fine.
Yeah.
We've left her with food and water. She'll be okay.
All right. So, Chaos Demon homebrews. Well, we have a lot of room to go here. I think the most obvious answers here are the individual followers of each of the main Chaos gods. That's the most straightforward and the easiest thing to homebrew if you're approaching this.
Actually, this actually does. So I'll just really quickly say, when we're done with this actually trails really nicely into homebrewing your own chaos cults.
It does. It really does. So one of, I think, the best things that goes super underrated and underlooked at by a lot of homebrewers is the fact that greater demons tend to represent aspects of their god.
Yeah.
They are embodying particular elements. You can look at any of like the named Chaos Demon characters, and they all represent a particular facet of their god's domain. So if you look at Scarbrand, if I recall correctly, his is simply pure hatred, right?
Mm.
It is eternal, seething, disgusted hatred. Likewise, I'm trying to recall.
We take another one from like Nurgle, Kugath. You know
Yes,
Kugath?
Kugath. I'm
Kugath
aware of
is
Kugath.
quite literally the embodiment of like the ultimate disease. It's not a named thing. It's become a theme unto itself, the ultimate disease,
Mm-hmm.
or the ultimate plague, and that's what Kugath is. It's a very singular element of Nurgle. We're not talking about the cycle of life and death or rot and decay. We are talking about pestilence in its
Mm-hmm.
purest form. You know.
And
Ooh.
that's for greater demons, right? That's what greater demons embody. But also, you have heralds and lesser demons that have their things going on. These are different demons that serve their gods in particular ways. If you look at, say, Epidemius, the Nurgle guy who's on like a palanquin of Nurglings, he's got this big he's the tally master. He's got a tally sheet next to him, and his whole thing is counting the dead that fall to the plagues.
Mm.
Likewise, under the thrall of Slanesh, you have the mask, which is that correct? It's called the mask. I've not looked at the characters in so long,
Yeah.
but I'm remembering my old deep dives. But the mask of Slanesh being cursed to dance eternally, because if I recall correctly, they danced a dance that displeased Slanesh.
I also want to just point out, I don't think you said it a second ago, but I just do kind of want to point out Demon Princes as well, are another really,
Oh,
really good
of
one.
course.
There is a really interesting Demon Prince of Nurgle in the Soul Drinkers omnibus called Vemeth,
Mm-hmm.
and Vemeth doesn't have a body per se. Vemeth is a living plague. And one of the things that Vemeth does, when you think of a demon prince, right, you typically think of like the model or just some giant guy, yada yada, right? The
Mm-hmm.
the form Vemeth takes is by inhabiting the bodies of hundreds of cultists like simultaneously.
Oh,
That's his form, you
that's
know.
wonderful.
So you can really like when you're homebrewing like demon characters, as long as you're staying within the realm of the particular god you're homebrewing them within, or Chaos Undivided in and of itself, there is a shitload you can do rather than just, hey, here's big guy who's super powerful. He has Dragon Ball powers. You can get really metaphysical with it if you want to, you know.
Mm-hmm. There is such a great modeling opportunity that demons provide
Mm,
because you can go any such direction. Um, there's lots of people I know who do a lot of third-party miniatures for their demon armies specifically because it's so natural to have weird-looking variations, right?
yeah.
That accentuate different features.
Well, it's funny you say that because obviously Games Workshop has a model range to sell, and so those you do see those modeled demons in the lore, whether we're talking about like a Bloodletter or
Mm-hmm.
a Bing Bong of Slanesh or whatever the fuck, right? You see that you see these named demons, but just as commonly you see demons that are just like, hey, here is an indescribable fucking thing that's green and smelly. I'm pretty sure it belongs to Nurgle, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
so many indescribable demons that don't have model representation because that's what demons are. They are this free form thing that just kind of exists, you know? I remember this being a point of discussion in the Discord a while back where someone was like, how many plague burst, oh, not plague burst, how many plague bearers or something can blah, blah. And it's like, don't think too hard about like army listing in terms of lore. when you're homebrewing
Mm-hmm.
chaos. You know, your chaos forces aren't gonna have your chaos demon forces aren't gonna have like squads, platoons, and regiments like an army would have, or like a chapter might have, or something akin to that.
You might have
It's
a weird Cornate army that's like that, where they are perhaps led by like a god of discipline, and it's all regimented in this way.
oh,
Perhaps
be
they're
careful with the word god there, or we're gonna start arguing.
sorry, not god, but
We
you know,
can't
like
be. I don't want to start talking about
a
fucking
greater demon.
Antwer again.
Yeah, fucking Antwer. But I got a demon that represents its god's aspect as discipline or something like that.
Yeah.
These are great ways to theme an army, and they can come down from that.
Yeah, it's a fun one as well because you can portray that. I mean, this is how I like to do things, right? You can portray that theme with as much subtlety and nuance as you like. Like when you start doing it, the first thing you're going to do is be like, "Oh my god, I'm going to make a corny demon prince of discipline," and you're going to write that in your homebrew, and it's going to be like, "Oh no." It's much better to just show it, I think. I mean, this is me nitpicking again, but it's way more interesting to show that through actions and stories rather than here is the big title, the God of Discipline. Oh, I've said you got me saying God now.
Yeah, it's really easy to slip into because the demon titles are so strange.
Yeah, yeah. Did you guys know that the Grey Knight, Castellan Crow, his sword is a god. He wields
Yeah,
a god into battle. This is actual lore, and it pissed me off.
yeah, it's a god. Antwer is the blade god. It took
So
like several
fucking
chapters, several like thousands of regiments, I think, to actually
so
like
dumb.
put down the blades armies.
It's so dumb. I hate it.
It's insane. Yeah, it's crazy. But there's also some like fun elements that come along uh with individual demons and their stories.
Yeah.
Because while this has kind of been vaguely implied before, it is restated and made clear to us in the events of Archmagos that not Archmagos, what is it? Is that the most recent?
Yeah. That's the
Yeah. Archmagos, yeah. Most recent Belisarius call book. It's made clear to us that demons can, while bearing allegiance to their original god, serve other patrons.
Oh yes,
Um,
yes. The you're talking about the I have the Soul Grinder armies.
yes.
Really
Yeah.
fun. Just to give you some context, guys, if you were unaware of what sort of we learned in Archmagos, is that Soul Grinders are a type of demon slash demon engine. They're the perfect split down the middle, right? And the soul grinders can be of any chaos god or none in particular. And they can serve almost any master. But what's really fun about the soul grinders that you learn in Archmagos is that they are all only ever loaned and rented out to the chaos gods. You know, or the body of a soul grinder is rented out to a demon who wishes to have a physical form again. Ultimately, the soul grinders are the property of Vashtor the Archifane. So the next time you see a Cornate or a Nurgle Soul Grinder, that guy's on loan, or his body is on loan. It's a real interesting. Almost, it's really funny. It's a little bit. I'll talk about Vashtor here for a second. He's a really funny character. He's he is a debtor the right word? Someone who is owed a lot of debts. Is that the right word?
A creditor?
Yeah, he is a ledger, and it's really funny because when he talks to people throughout that book and talks to demons, there is so much dialogue that is like almost lifted from the kind of conversation you'd have with a loan shark. He is constantly talking about the debts that demons owe him, and he's not talking about it in a metaphorical way. He means literally, you owe me this many souls or this many centuries of service or yada yada yada, right? You're absolutely right, Non. Vashtor is a demonic loan shark, is what he is. He's a very interesting, funny guy. And this is a fun thing to talk about if you're making a Chaos Undivided demon, because it's very easy to find the guidelines to work within for one of the four. But if you're doing a Chaos Undivided demon, I don't say it's way more fun, but it could be way more fun, because you get to play around with more less restricted motifs and themes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, similarly, like Vashtor, if you said, okay, here are my motifs and themes, Lone Shark, mechanical, and you'd find that that's like if you were to come up with a demon prince or a greater demon style character with those two themes, you're going to end up coming up with your own version of Vashtor, which I think is awesome. You know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think it also maybe shines a light on how we might be able to look at the demons that serve Be'lakor, because there's this
Yeah.
strange way that it's not really talked about directly, but Be'lakor commands his armies of various allegiances, right? Bringing all the demons of various gods under his banner. But this Archmagos kind of implies there's probably an accord there, a personal agreement that has meant that these demons have chosen to abide by Be'lakor for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the 100 bits, Linky. Oh my god, if Linky gives us bits for putting Linky in timeout. Linky, do you want to go in timeout again? But it's quite funny as well, because following that same line of thinking, Be'lakor actually has... I don't want to talk about Space Marines too much this episode, right? But
Mm-hmm.
Be'lakor actually has Space Marines who follow him
That
as
doesn't
well.
surprise me.
A Chaos... I say a Chaos Warband. It's called the... let me find it. Here we go. Yeah, I've read about this weeks and weeks and weeks ago. Called the Disciples of Be'lakor, or the Shadow Legion. It's not a warband. It is a conglomerate of demons and Chaos Space Marines that serve him. So it's a really strange and unique way to go about making a Chaos faction. Because it's not a Chaos Warband, and it's not a demon host. It's like, it's both. I'll tell you what it's almost like. It's almost like a Crusade force, but Chaos.
Mm.
You know, which is a really funny thing that you never really see people homebrew, ever.
That's true. That's very true. Because really, that's what the Black Crusades were meant to be. But that's on such a scale that it's very difficult to kind of understand that, or to homebrew within it without kind of getting sidelined or without overstating what your homebrew is. But as well, when you're talking about unaligned demons, there are some very, very fun implications about the non-god aligned denizens of the warp. Because we do know that there are animals in the warp, beings that are not necessarily demons, but that are endemic to the warp, right?
Yeah.
Things like enslavers or Psychonuan or whatever the hell else.
Vampires.
Yeah, vampires with a Y.
Yeah, vampire. Oh yeah, I forgot if the warp ones are spelt with a Y. No, the warp vampires are spelt with an I. It's the Necromunda ones that are spelt with a Y.
Oh, sorry, is that my mistake? I see.
Yeah.
I see. But all that aside as well, you do then have explicitly unaligned demons that then can become aligned at times,
Yeah.
such as the what are they called? The Furies, those
Yes.
little guys that we used to get. And GWs I think like cut them from the modern range, but this is still a thing. Some minor spoilers for Rites of Passage, a novel about navigators, funnily enough.
Mm.
But there is there's illusion about a demon that is not necessarily an intelligent being, but that is massive, almost like a whale within the warp, and it is sort of the big threat.
I think there's a thing here though that's worth stating about the warp, and I think we all know this, right? We all know this is true, and that's that the warp is a very fucky wucky place. If you read the Inquisitor novel, what's it called? Oh, I had the name then. It's an older one, but it still checks out. Oh, what was it called? I'd know the name if I heard it. It's got like one of those really like memorable names. Anyways, long story short, these guys end up traveling through the warp, and they see a bloodthirster the size of a solar system. And so it's good to not. What I'm trying to say about this is it's good to not play. It's good to play fast and loose with your power scaling when you're making these demon characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
I saw someone in chat say a minute ago that they made a homebrew demon thing, and they said, "Oh, it's as strong as Vashtor." And it's like, well, we don't really know how strong Vashtor is. We've seen him in one fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't have a frame of reference for that. Um, you know, so it's like it's better to play fast and loose with it and keep true to your themes than it is to start like Dragon Ball Z power scaling characters. You know.
Yeah. Look, demons are basically unkillable until they're not. That's
Yes.
kind of how they work.
Well, they're plot devices a lot of the time, but they're very fun
Yeah.
to explore ideas with, which
Mhm.
is why they're
I
so
think
fun to homebrew.
demons are, I think, so much better when they are a power broker rather
Mm,
than someone looking to gain something themselves.
yeah.
If you look at Cherubael from the Eisenhorn novels, he is such a good, fun, memorable character because of how his whole deal is just about getting what he wants out of the people around him and manipulating people and making bargains and doing all of this. Because that's what demons are at their core.
Yeah.
They need a way into real space. They want it, and you can make deals with them. It's just very unlikely those deals will go in your favor.
Well, it's the monkey's paw, isn't it?
It is. It is.
But we forget as well that the inspiration for these things in real life fiction, we talk about demons, and it all sprouts from things. Well, not I was about to say the Bible, but really, when we talk about like a science fiction space, what we really should be looking at is things like The Exorcist and Omen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, things that are insidious and unseen. Um, they appear to be omnipotent, but it's just through the eyes of the person who's falling to temptation, right? And again,
Mm-hmm.
this is a thematic presentation that you'll never get anywhere near if you're constantly power scaling your characters. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's always best to
Oh,
make the
someone says Faust. Absolutely, Faust.
yeah, it's always best to prioritize your themes over your I feel like I'm making the same point over and over again. You get what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah, yeah. No. Quite simply, demons are a very fun, very free-form thing that you can homebrew. Things get more tricky when you do groups because, of course, then you need to like take into account a little bit of the demon cosmology as it's
Yeah,
implied. But aside from that, it is a lot of fun just to come up with demons. Like, you don't even need to say if a demon is a greater demon. Yeah, vibes over strength, absolutely, Ultron
yeah,
Hydra. That's what it's about. Because you don't need to say this was a greater demon or this was a herald.
yeah,
You know, no human, nobody in the physical world would realistically be able to chart that unless they're maybe Eldar. Um,
yeah.
and
Grey
so you can
Knights.
have them, yeah, Grey Knights might, yeah. So you can generally have them do anything. Has this demon plunged a whole world into a warp storm, which is now a sort of endless nightmare that the people inside have to survive? Yeah, absolutely. Why not? That happens all the time. Um, are they a pitiable creature that's wheedling for people to do what it says, but actually doesn't necessarily have the power that the other like an average demon might have to enforce that? Yeah, sure. You can be as pitiful, as wretched, or as seemingly omnipotent and terrifying as you need it to be, within reason, of course.
Let's see. I don't see any question. Oh no, we've got questions. How would you handle warp-touched wildlife? That's really easy. You just
Ooh.
the same way you. I think no. I think that's really easy. Is you look at canon examples of warp-touched anything. It's all the
Yeah,
same, right?
true.
It's like if it,
Yeah,
what does
mutation.
a guy look like when he's been infected with some sort of Nurgle disease? What does a guy look like on his like sixth week of working for Korn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same sort of thing. Um, shit. I
Yeah.
shouldn't say this because it's going in the wrong direction, but it's easy to visualize this for things like Tyranids, right? Well, what does a planet or
Mm-hmm.
what does fauna look like when the Tyranids have gone, oh, we like this, you know? Try and like translate that to chaos. Um, Yeah, what's the other one? Vibes over strength type deal. Ultron asks. Yeah, absolutely. You can play around with strength if you want to, but that's good for talking about battles and conflicts rather than like individual character power scaling, you know? How
Let
about
like
demons from an unknown god? Yeah, we're not playing that game, Jeff. We're not
no,
playing that game. Get away from me. Listen,
you
I
could
already,
like
hate the sword god.
yeah,
Um,
fucking
the
Antwer.
fucking
Look,
sword. There's the pantheon of five, the big four you know about, and the sword god. Get the fuck away from
look,
me, GW.
to you can allude to other gods, other powers, but you should never really be saying it. You can have things that sound like they might be something,
Yeah,
but don't say it.
yeah.
These are themes to play with, but don't try to overwrite the cosmology of 40k. Oh,
Just be
are we getting bad
you
audio?
stop.
Scrap code.
Silence yourself. It goes away. All right. All right. You're going in the bin. You're going in the bin for making funny noises, Zarrek. What about Demons of the Dark King as Samus? Well, that wouldn't really work because the Dark King is like everything Chaos kind of wanted not to happen. Well, that's not necessarily true. It's its own thing. But understand that the Dark King does not exist in 40k. And Samus has like very little to do with the Dark King, if anything at all.
Mhm.
Samus is a demon of chaos undivided, who, as far as I know, has never been seen in 40k. I might have to double check on that one.
I think wasn't it a thing? Didn't Sam? Am I correct in thinking Samus turned into the realm of corn?
No, I don't think so.
No,
Let me go check. Because he did. Well, he did have a model that was a Cornate model for the longest time, didn't he?
it
Actually,
looked like that. But of course,
yeah,
all the demons in 30k aren't don't abide by the 40k cosmology because at that time the gods were like less understood by humanity, right? They were
yeah,
less homogenized in the minds of mortals.
yeah. Well, it's like the demons of the Ruin Storm look exceedingly Cornate, but they're just chaos undivided.
They are, they are. They're just
Um,
whatever they are.
Yeah, I've just gone looking for Samus lore. Yeah, I am on the Lex. I've very fucked the Lex, but listen, we're on the clock here. It doesn't say the word corn does not come up once.
Yeah, no, it's just
Um,
whatever.
yeah, well,
Generally speaking.
this is the thing the community does. Like, oh my god, that demon's red. It must be coordinate. Uh, and it's fine. That's GW's marketing at play. But don't let yourself be
Mhm.
fooled too much. Right, let's move on to a different one. I think we've exhausted. Well, no, we exhausted
Yeah.
that. We've talked about that one a lot. Let's find a different one, chat. Right.
Should we stay on the subject of chaos for the time being?
Oh, go on then.
Because I think agents of chaos are something I'd like to talk about next, and we can move into cults, and then it'll bring us into other stuff. So, agents of chaos, at least that's what I'm calling them, are essentially a name that I would give to anything that is effectively a Chaos Inquisitor counterpart. Some of the old rulebooks refer to them as magisters sometimes, like in the Inquisitor war game itself. I think they're sometimes called that. But there are, on the side of chaos, a number of incredibly powerful and influential individuals who are pulling strings, doing covert work to bring about the apotheosis of beings in real space, right?
Yeah.
Again, I would point you to read Rites of Passage to really get your head around that. But these are people who will manipulate local chaos forces, who will take advantage of anything around them, and who will essentially pressure people or things into going through their plans, because usually their goals will be to commit some kind of complex ritual. Actually, I think just about any villain from like the Dan Abnett, like Eisenhorn, then
Yeah.
Ravener, then Beckwin series
Well,
could be classified under this.
real quick, Dan Abnett did the, if I recall correctly, the Sabbath Worlds Crusade background book, which has a shitload of stuff in it on Magisters.
Mm,
Some
lovely.
imagery for them as well, which actually shows you how, unlike Inquisitors, or maybe like Inquisitors, but in a different direction, how different they can be from each other as people. You know,
Mhm.
Magister can be like a corrupted Inquisitor. It could be a Sorcerer King. It could be like a knight who's been so empowered by chaos, like almost like a Luther style character who's so empowered by chaos that
Mhm.
he can face off with space marine. There's all sorts of stuff you can do with it. And again, this is one of the reasons why homebrewing alt factions is so much fun, because unlike established factions in canon, the rules are very, very loose.
Mhm.
And so when you're talking about models for something like a Magister, can you imagine how fun that would be?
It's so fun. I've done like models along those lines before, and they are some of the most fun and creepy and wacky things you'll come up with. But they can also be totally unassuming. They can
Yeah.
be a person swaddled in their little robes with perhaps just one unsettling, not right feature that sticks
Mm.
out. One model I have is somebody wrapped up in cloth with like I've got lots of like green stuffed cloth over the head. They have a slightly mutated face with a bionic eye in there, and one human hand and one demonic hand. And that's as simple as it can be, or it can be super complex
Oh my
as
god, did you
someone.
just
Yeah.
describe Nero from Devil May Cry 4? Sorry.
um,
That,
sure,
sorry,
sure.
I was
Why
talking to
not?
Aaron about it over the weekends. It was about Devil May Cry, and it's like, hold up.
Uh,
That whole game is just a guy with a demon hand dismantling a chaos cult.
mm-hmm.
It's the whole game.
Yeah,
Whilst doing hack and slash acrobatics. Sorry, didn't mean to derail. Please continue.
that's okay. But don't forget, there are, and I say this with, I want you all to understand it and be adults about this. Please understand. There's a very small number of Eldar that serve chaos, and these would be individuals that brokered their deals likely before the fall. These are individuals that reside within the Eye of Terror for the bulk of their lives. They are incredibly rare and incredibly powerful, and
Mm.
they are almost definitely entirely self-obsessed.
What's this from? This is the first I'm
Uh,
hearing of this.
so I can confirm that at the very least, second edition continues to suggest that these exist, and they are alluded to throughout some other books. I believe in the was it the eighth or ninth edition codex? There's a funny little diagram about the Eldar that implies a divergence of their diaspora
Mm.
that is chaotic in nature.
That's interesting. I've just gone and done a quick Google search. This is actually my first time hearing about this beyond the
Hmm.
obvious stuff. Actually, there's quite a lot of them. There's quite a lot of named ones.
Yeah, they get named because I think in a lot of early lore they're very easy villains, right?
They were most
But
recently
yeah,
mentioned in the 8th edition Harlequin's Codex.
yeah, probably yeah. That makes sense. I can have a wee look for that. I've got that next to me.
Mm.
Someone saying only Slanesh? Not necessarily. No, because they could have just brokered it with any, say, even an individual demon, just something to give them safe
Yeah.
harbor. Now, it makes a lot of sense that a lot of them would be Slaneshi in nature, given the shape of Eldar society prior to the fall. But then you do have others that come along afterwards. There is a reason that the Craftworld Eldar practice something called the Path of the Outcast. This is if an individual cannot limit their emotions, that cannot control their aspirations and their desires, they will be asked to leave the craft world and they will take on the path of the outcast. Now, many outcasts return as Eldar Rangers to be a sort of forward vanguard for their army, but these outcasts will often go live with other Eldar parties, perhaps the Dark Eldar, but more typically the Corsairs or sometimes Exodites. But the reason that they are expelled is because Eldar, having extraordinarily powerful souls, but also extremely heightened emotions, are particularly vulnerable to the extremities of chaos, full stop.
Yeah.
And so they cannot have someone who is practicing extremes of emotion within the craft world, lest that draw the gaze of any god, but, typically Slanesh. So if you want to do that as a character, that is a perfect setup for a particular agent of chaos, or I don't think a magister would be the right word for it because they are something else, right?
Oh, Sarah, could you take over for a minute, please? I just
Oh,
need
of
to go
course,
and
of
deal with
course.
something. I'm terribly sorry.
Yeah. It's also worth noting that there are some Xenos that worship Chaos. The name doesn't come to mind, but I do recall a whole species that gave themselves over to Slaanesh, and these characters will just crop up. Timro says, after the Farsight novels and the influence of chaos on Tau, are we in the realms of Tau chaos cults? I don't think that's at all likely, almost entirely because of how closely the Ethereals watch over their people. This is, of course, the ever-running thing with Farsight and the line that he walks. But I don't think we're likely to see that anytime soon. But Elemental Council, the Tau novel, does point to this idea that the lair, of course, the lair is one, but I believe there are more. Sorry, that is Xenos species that give themselves over to chaos gods. I think there's more than one. But in Elemental Council, we see a slightly separatist, not quite separatist group of Eldar. They are essentially a group of Eldar that are hyper-conservative because they are opposed to the introduction of humanity into the greater good. They believe that humans, specially, are ill-suited to join and cannot be converted truly. And so they are going about trying to sabotage any kind of compliance. And the implications there are super vague, but the general implication is that not all ethereals agree with each other, and some will go off, even in disagreement, and essentially go against their entire people. But this is just an implication. So if we were going to see a chaos cult spring up anywhere, it would probably be at the behest of an ethereal who themselves is corrupted somehow. But no examples yet. Now, if we're talking Genestealer corrupted, yes, those happen. You can have some fun with that. That is explicitly stated. But I think I'm running out of things to say because.
Sorry, do you want to move on to another one? I'm almost
yes.
done with this little doodad. I'll be back in a sec.
All good. So I think I'll move things on to chaos cults because these tie in super nicely with this sort of thing that we're talking about with magisters and things. Now, cults can come about for a number of reasons, and this is why we also have under this heading brackets other cults, because cults within the Imperium are super common. Well, that is Husk VT. Thank you for following.
Much appreciated, my dude.
There are many cults within the Imperium, many that are in fact tolerated sometimes, such as redemptionist cults. These are groups of Imperial mortals. Savage, thank you for following as well. There are groups of mortals that take the Imperial Creed and push it to even further extremes. Now, knowing how extreme the Imperial Creed can get, this actually covers up a lot of cult activity, with practices as brutal and savage as what are they called? They're escaping me. The Sisters of Battle unit with the whip limbs. What? Arcoflagellation. That's it. Arcoflagellant conversion. With such things being commonplace, well, not commonplace, but at least known about punishments, the extremities of some cults can very easily be covered up, and this happens a lot with, say, Genestealer cults. It's why they're able to gain traction before they are noticed. And it's the same for chaos cults. Now, chaos cults often don't know what they're doing. They may begin as disgruntled workers organizing to take down their foreman at whatever factorum they're working in. It could be a group of people with a divergent religion, because as many worlds are brought into the Imperial fold by the Missionaria Galaxia, that is to say, priests of the ecclesiarchy that are sent out to non-imperial worlds to begin inducing the imperial cult to them, so that they will be receptive when imperial invasion forces arrive. They will, in this process, try to marry local religion, superstition, and culture with the imperial truth. Yeah, Space Jesuit, sort of. But in particular, it calls back to the Bene Gesserit of Dune, who, if you're at all familiar with Dune, you'll know that the Bene Gesserit simply exist to begin essentially creating prophecies in local areas that they can then take advantage of to gain power over those locals later down the line. Essentially setting up a bunch of prophecies that they can fulfill themselves. There's all that stuff at the because it's Haderach. I don't want to get into it because I've only read a little bit of Dune, so I'm not an expert. But that's what the Missionaria Galaxia does, and in so doing, they absorb a lot of what might be called deviant religions. Oh, DJ Prinny, thank you for following into the Imperium, and thus you have a lot of strange out there beliefs that will be overlooked, and this is where a lot of chaos cults can get their start. Any kind of funky little thing that is at all accepted allows them more and more room to grow. Now, of course, they typically won't know what's going on. You can look at the ancient people of Colchis and like Lorgar's whole background, where they were effectively worshipping the Chaos Gods without knowing it, because there are marks, artifacts, things in real space that speak to the powers in the warp. They could be small powers, they could be whatever. This is how Chaos Cults can begin. Perhaps like a single Chaos sigil becomes their religious symbol. And this can grant them some limited power, and they'll continue to strive towards it. Now, to get into how you would actually go about homebrewing that and writing that, I think it's really important to understand that Chaos Cults are always, and I mean always, they're always self-defeating. Much like Genestealer cults, they are working towards an apocalypse that will doom them. Almost none, but perhaps some very few, will actually benefit from what they're going for. Usually, Genestealer cults and Chaos cults take advantage of disgruntled workers to bring more into their workforce. I can't find my notes, but back in the day I had a bunch of different Chaos cults I'd done some homebrew for, and one of them was all about sort of mutant solidarity, right? How a lot of mutants are discriminated against by the Imperium, particularly beastmen are likely to come together in a sort of resistance. And with something like that, it's very natural for the agitators, the people who are actually a bit more knowledgeable about chaos, perhaps even a magister or an agent of chaos that has come from elsewhere to take advantage of this, can convince them of certain things, and in so doing, undermine their own goals. In this particular homebrew I'd written, I believe it was the case that it was, after all, run by a clade of unmutated individuals, people who maybe had one or two minor mutations, but those that were induced by chaos itself. And so they can take advantage, get in the mix, anything that can hide them, obscure them.
I'm terribly sorry about that, Zarrek.
Oh, all good, Tom. Sorry, I'm flapping a wee bit here, but if you what you thinking on chaos cults, right? I think.
Can we talk? Let's talk about non-chaos cults.
Oh, let's. Okay.
So one of the things that exists in 40k that not a lot of people recognize or talk about or even think about very often is cults that aren't of the chaos nature, because I mean obviously cults in Warhammer 40k are so synonymous with chaos that it almost seems bizarre to even think that anything outside of that could exist. And those cults can take many forms, much like the kind you see in pop culture and fiction generally, more broadly, and cults that are dedicated to other things that actually exist within the universe. Whether it be things like a certain ethos, a creed, or even a xenos. Cults can exist in all manner of fashion. And there is one in particular that always comes to mind to me, because if you guys know me, you know the kind of videos that I like to make, the kind of things I like to talk about in the Discord on a social level. I fucking love vampires. I love vampire media. I love vampire fiction. I did a whole video on vampires in 40k, and one of the cults that exists in 40k, I think it was killed by the Inquisition, was the vampire covens of Cassandra. And this is really interesting, because this is from 2nd edition, maybe 1st, ages and ages ago. And one of the interesting things about this cult is it specifies in the source text that it's a non-chaos cult, a cult that worships vampires. Which is really fun because not just this edition, but going on throughout all of 40k, even some more recent edition, explains what vampires are in 40k. And there's a bunch of different kinds of vampires in Warhammer, ranging from not just like the Blood Angels, right, but to actual to warp-born Xenos, so not chaos, but still born of the warp, not subservient to any of the chaos gods. Just the warp is their place of birth. They are shape-shifting vampires, like the kind you see in some media, where they can take on a giant bat form, like in Skyrim, and then be a humanoid person when they need to sneak into society. You have more underworld style vampires, like vampire covens, and those are in Necromunda,
Yeah.
where we're talking about mortal human beings that have been like bitten by a vampire, and then they become a vampire and have their vampire serfs and whatever, and they've just got literal vampiric powers, drinking blood, like one-to-one vampires. And so you can have cults centered around things like this, nothing to do with chaos or chaos worship at all. You can literally make your own cult and have that be its own standalone faction in an area of space. It may be a cult worshipping one. This actually connects to homebrewing your own Xenos, and we'll come to that like in a sec, because that's its own fun thing. I know Zarrek's got a lot of got at least something to say on that topic. But you can homebrew your own Xenos, and it could just be like one all-powerful guy that's got the strength to rule a world from the shadows, or this and that, right? Whatever. And then create your own cult to worship that thing. It's a real out there kind of thing that no one really thinks about, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. I actually had a wee homebrew a while ago where I went down the route of how blasphemous can an Imperial Creed centered cult get, right? Because we have our redemption cults, the extremes that are taken advantage of by some Ministorum priests to be their Frateris militia. But then you push it a bit further, and you get to the realm of living saints, right, where they need to be sanctioned, and a lot of people are doubtful of their validity and everything. And this whole cult was built around the idea of, what if a living saint came back wrong? Oh, yo, Lucifer, thank you for subscribing at tier 1.
Much appreciated, Lucifer. Thanks so much, my dude.
Hell yeah. But what if a living saint came back wrong? What if they came back in a way that was not splendorous, but it was skeletal, a bit wrong, a strange kind of wan green light instead of the regular gold? What does this do to a cult, right? How does this change it, and how does the Imperium react? This cult kind of became the big bad group that I was running them as essentially NPCs for some friends of mine to play their Inquisitors. We're doing a Necromunda Inquisitor themed campaign.
Yeah.
And this cult was like the big enemy. And a lot of the intrigue was around, well, what are they? Is it a valid Imperial saint? This saint can bring people back from the dead, and there are other saints that have done this, but it doesn't seem right because they don't come back quite the right way. And there's so much fun you can have playing around with these ideas, right? The limits that the Imperium normally puts on things, the strange and frankly otherworldly elements of their religion that, if changed, become very sinister. These are all great. This is all great room for you to build out a perhaps even loyalist cult that can be even weirder. I mean, you look at the Cawdor gangers of Necromunda.
Oh, that's a cult in of it. Yeah, of course.
They are their own cult. Yeah. So they run their own schools. They're all a bunch of like pauper, wretches. They wear masks to hide their faces because they consider all people sinners, and that sinners should hide their faces for shame and everything. And there's a lot going on with that, and you'll find this on various worlds. In fact, it's not exactly actually, there's a cult that is non-chaos in nature, that is also not imperial in nature, that is very strange, that shows up in one of the Warhammer crime novels. I'm not going to say which, I don't want to spoil it. Oh, Federal Fish, thank you for the 1,000 bits. Hell
much
yeah.
Much appreciated, my dude. Thank you so much, man. Oh, my days. I'm going to let Federal Fish decide the next faction. Thank you so much, my dude. Much appreciated.
Yeah,
Oh
so
wow.
there's so many that come up. Oh, let's see. Do we have any more questions about cults, or I think have we kind of exhausted
I
this
can talk about
this
vampires
area?
some more if you like.
Oh, you can easily talk about
Thank
whichever.
you. Thank you for the 100 bits, Tim. Tim says, could you consider specific area of research slash devotion a subcult for the mech?
Yes.
Aren't their own like actual like cults within the AdMech, right?
Basically, yeah. So we have our extremist cells, such as the Xenorites, and there were the original extremists in those members of the Mechanicus back in the 31st millennium that were
Mm,
practicing with demon spirits to animate their machines.
yeah. Well, you have
And
cults within. Sorry, I'll let you get whilst it's fresh in my mind because I'll forget. You have cults that actually collaborate with the Mechanicus. For example, the Thorians of the Inquisition
mm,
actually sort of began working with the AdMech Genitors, which is very likely the reason that the cursed founding of Space Marines even happened in the first place. It is quite wide ranging within the Imperium. It's just we forget their cults because we always end up calling them different things. Like you forget the Thorians are a cult because you just call them the Thorians, right?
mm-hmm. Nora asks some question, what the fuck is Delac? Oh, we'll get there, don't you worry.
Oh no.
But there's more than that, right? You have the electro priests, which if you look at from like the codex angle, right, you have your Corpuscari and Fulgurite, who are two sides of the same coin. In that electro priests are wholly dedicated to worship of the motive force. That is to say, quite literally, electricity. But for them, it's bioelectricity, the animating force of your body.
Mm.
Oh, bye bye,
Take
Line
it
Play
easy, Lime.
Games. Um, so their division there is one says the motive force is boundless and infinite, and we can spread it however we like. That's the Corpuscari, and then the Fulgurite are the motive force is limited. We must conserve as much power as possible and shun the use of excessive light. Um, and you would think that that's all there is, but that's not all there is. You have um other little denominations within that we don't get too much information about. But what we do get to know is that they then have their chaos counterpart in the Negavolt cultists, which are a corrupted kind of electro priest. And we don't have too much information about their belief, but what it does imply is that there is a multiplicity of different belief systems within the electro priest sort of
Yeah.
denomination. Oh, someone's saying a Moire schism obligatory mention. Oh, of course. So this is literally a literal case of what was the original question we got asked? Who was Tim Rose? Yeah, a specific area of research or devotion becoming a cult. Yes, that's what the Moire schism was.
Yeah.
The data looms of Moire were there to process vast quantities of information. What for? Who knows? But they noticed patterns in those variations, and that those patterns corresponded to movements and flickers within the Astronomicon. And they then began trying to use that to divine prophecies. This, of course, causes a schism, but it is very natural within the Mechanicus to consider every area of work, every kind of study, to be a kind of worship. This is simply how they operate. And yes?
We're getting deep into AdMech stuff here.
We are, sorry. We'll be coming back to this in 2 weeks, guys. Don't you worry. We'll get into
There's,
the
yeah,
weeds. I have so much to say.
Yeah. Federal says, I know it's outside the bounds of the stream, but could you shed some light on Homebrewing Custodes if you're feeling up to? I'll tell you what, Federal Fish. I planned on making Homebrewing Custodes a whole topic for a future stream. Would much like in like 2 weeks we're gonna do AdMech. Sometime after that, I would like to do Homebrewing Custodes as its entire solo stream, if that suits instead.
I think that's a very good idea. Actually, Lucifer asking an interesting question here. Would I, Lucifer, be an agent of chaos by creating chaos around the setting, or would I be my own god? You would not be your own god. The closest thing to a human that becomes a god we can really look at is the Emperor, which is like no. But also, I suppose Be'lakor, but definitely not because he's not there yet. Even if there's,
I think it was a joke question, Zarrek.
yeah.
I'm
But
sorry.
uh,
Federal, which one? Which
I'm
topic
never
would you?
sure. I'm never
Which
sure, Tom.
which subfaction Federal would you like us to look at next from the ones we listed earlier? Or would you like us to choose? We'll let you pick from that 1,000 bits. Again, much appreciated, my dude. I'm starting to get sweaty in here again. Oh no. Let's see. Let's see.
Oh, that was a serious question.
Oh,
No,
what?
no.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't.
no,
I guess I can't tell.
yeah, but no,
Dealer's
no.
choice. I'm just here to vibe. Very good. Very good.
No, you would not essentially create a chaos god because your chaos, if it's just wild and all over the place, that's just death and whatever, and you'll probably gain something out of it. You'll probably get some blessings from the gods, but no, it's not going to create any kind of worship. Worship is what makes a god.
Yeah. Norn Queen wants Exodite. So we got any other takers? Exodite. So do we want something else?
Oh boy.
Let's see. Let's see. Is Norn Queen going to? Is the Prime Investor going to win once again? Someone says Dinos.
Well, actually,
Yep.
your listeners made me think of something. You know Nemeroth from Space Marine?
Yeah.
He was a Chaos God Undivided, wasn't he?
He was
Chaos Prince. Sorry, Demon Prince.
a demon
God.
prince of Undivided. Yeah.
Chaos, yeah. So yeah.
Much appreciated, Mitch. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mitch.
My dude.
Yeah, remember, Undivided Demon Princes are things.
Yeah.
Even if they're not a thing that you can play in the current
Did
edition.
you know
they are a thing.
There's a demon prince of Chaos Undivided called Marbus.
Oh, is this the lion-headed one?
Yes,
Yes,
he's a demon prince of the Fallen, and he's a giant winged lion. With
It's so fucking cool.
Which is
it's so cool.
a very fun little idea for a demon prince there. You can be on the nose with it if you want to. You don't have to make your demon princes super metaphysically weird. You can be hella on the nose with it if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Right. So we got some for 2 for Exodite, 2 for Knights Auxiliary. Oh no, third, fourth for Exodites. Right. Third for Auxiliary. I think we win on Exodites by 1. Zarrek.
Okay, that's fun. So we're starting on the whole thing of Eldar now. We're on this path. So, Exodites are a group that you can do a lot with, but you need to understand the fundamentals here. And that is, they aren't a militarized civilization, right? Quite unlike just about any of their counterparts. They are rarely combatants. But they are, because they are Eldar, and so they're always going to be adept when it comes to that. So, with Exodites, they do have, if I'm just going sort of a quick primer for their lore, they have things called Dragon Knights. These are people who ride their dinosaurs. Oh my god. Captain Hemorrhoid, thank you for that 1,500 bits.
Oh my days. That's a hell of a username, my dude. That's a real...
that's
a real motherfucker of a username. Captain... Fucking hell. Could you all talk a little about the Leagues of Votann at some point? I know a guy who's one of the big experts in the Discord. Much like how we got Snizzy on for AUs. I do know a guy who knows literally every last little bit about Votann lore, and he even put together a multi-page guide on how to homebrew Votann. Tell you what I'll do, Mr. Hemorrhoid, Captain Hemorrhoid, the Hemorrhoid Nate. That's a serious fucking username, dog. I'll drop him a DM and I'll ask him how he feels about coming on the stream. If he wants to, great. If not, we'll do a Votann stream anyway, because we are planning on doing one for most of the factions at some point anyway. But absolutely, we will get there at some point. 100%, my dude.
Well, there's a little bit of them that we'll talk about today, I think.
A little bit.
To the subjects. A little bit. So, that goes out to you. Right, Exodites, yeah. So, Dragon Knights, yes, these are... Yeah, welcome back, Jeff. We're talking about Exodites here, Homebrewing Exodites. So, the best baseline thing to understand about them is their go-to military asset are Dragon Knights, people who ride their dinosaurs, usually with a lance or spear or sword of some kind. And these dinosaurs can be anything from the size of maybe like a velociraptor-y thing like think the cold ones from Warhammer Fantasy, to all the way up to full like Carnodons and other similar beasts, right? I mean, these ones aren't technically Dragon Knights, but then you have like all the firing platforms that they'll mount on the backs of Brachiosauruses and Stegodons and things. There's that classic bit of John Blanche artwork that shows essentially a whole spire on the back of a Brachiosaurus, and it's wonderful. The thing that you can do with Exdites that you can't do so much with others is that this is the settings of Wood Elves. They are the like anarcho-primitivist group.
Oh, that's
right?
awful.
They are. They are. They're totally like anarcho-primitivist. Well, anarcho, but I suppose no, they'd probably be like theological primitivists, right? Because they have their own kind of farseers. Oh, 200 bits from Rikachu. Can Emperor's Eye Overwatch homebrew chapter, or is it stupid? Depends what you mean.
What can Emperor's Eye Overwatch homebrew chat? I don't know what that means.
If you mean lead, then
Can
no,
Emperor's Eye
they can't
Overwatch?
do that.
Sorry, dog. I don't know what you mean by that. Thank you for the 200 bits, though, my dude. But could you rephrase the question, please? Do you mean like can an Eye of the Emperor like lead a homebrew Space Marine chapter? No, absolutely not. They can do a lot though. They can do a shitload. But doing that is off the table.
They might perhaps in one battle lead a squad or something. Like if the squad's okay with it, depends on who they are.
Well, that's the thing as well. It's hard. You got to remember as well. Custodians typically do not like Space Marines, and often the feeling is mutual. They are not two forces of the Imperium that revere each other. One of the big points of characterization for Custodes is they are exceedingly prejudiced towards Astartes, for good reason. I think that comes up as often as it possibly can. And the inverse is often true as well.
Right, sorry, returning to Exodites, right? So you get quite a lot of room here, right? So they have their own psychers that commune with the world spirit, right? This is essentially their version of an infinity circuit. This is where their dead go. Presumably, we don't have the full details, but it seems to be the case that, world spirit, that's their infinity circuit, and they live on Maiden World, so very luscious, very lovely places, sort of untouched Earth, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And you've got so much room to play around here because, bear in mind, not every Maiden World is going to be the same kind of thing. It's not going to be the sort of European vision of a paradise, right? What you might have are large deserts with bountiful oases, right? This could be a Maiden World, and you could have a whole clan of Exodites that perhaps ride by dinosaur, but perhaps also by some kind of prehistoric giant insect, right? That could be a very fun angle to go with. You could have entire ocean worlds where they're on is it plesiosaurs? Is that the right thing?
I have no idea.
But they will be defined more than anything by their environment. Dinosaurs are the go-to, but they'll work with any kind of fauna really, because that's part of them. That's what their thing is. It's communion with nature and being a part of their world and being one big system. So you've got so much room to play around with. I was actually writing rules for them a wee while ago. This is right before 9th edition ended, so I never got around to finishing them. But one part of it was that I wanted to allow people to customize their mounts a little bit. If you wanted to have like a winged beasts that are more like insectile in nature, have a certain thing. But there's so much room here. Just bear in mind, they hate technology for the most part. They will not use complex mechanisms. They will use some wraithbone constructs, it seems. Can an Exite world be anywhere in the galaxy? Hypothetically, yes. Yeah. Scrap code.
Oh, let me just if you just give it just a second. It should correct itself. Something that Moots and I noticed on one of the previous streams was that if you literally just kill her, oh no. Talk again. Is it better? It literally
Okay.
it fixes it. I swear to God, it fixes itself after just a second. I worry that we've been like throwing you in the bin every stream, every other stream for like no. Is it better? Apparently, it's
No,
not
no.
better.
Put me in the bin.
All right, you gone. All right, she's in the bin. This was in the bin, please. It was a democratic decision decided by chat. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you, dog. I don't know anywhere near enough about Exodites to contribute to this one. It was quite funny because this is part of the disconnect that happened by saying to Zarrek, "Hey, I want to talk about homebrewing alternative factions." Because I meant like super abstract stuff. Although I suppose Exodites are out there, you know. They shouldn't be, but they are. Right, let's bring it back and see what happens. Right,
I'm
are we
returned.
good? Excellent.
Yes. Now, actually, I would like to amend my answer because actually, I don't believe they would be all over the galaxy. I have been checking my source here. So, if you refer to the 8th edition Harlequin's Codex of all things, it gives you a galactic map, and the general trend of like Exodite worlds is however far away you can get from the Eye of Terror while staying within the galaxy is generally where they prefer to find their maiden worlds. This makes a lot of sense given that, the Exodites originally left the Craft worlds, and, well, sorry, not the Craft worlds, the original Eldar home worlds, because they saw the darkness coming, they saw it coming a long way off, and so they went, pure theological primitivist, out into the void of space, crash their ships into those worlds, and repurpose all the Wraithbone for the absolutely necessary things, such as in constructing an infinity circuit and some other defensive things. But yeah, no, you can do any kind of dinosaur you can think of. You can just do anything. It's such a fun range here. But also, bear in mind that they are the space elf Amish. But bear in mind that not all Exodites will enjoy their lives. Some Exodites actually leave and go to travel with the Corsairs, because for them, they want a life of adventure. To be an Exodite is to live a mostly sedentary life, right? It is to live on a single
The
world.
Exodites, the space elf army.
They are. They do use dinosaurs instead of horses.
They got
They will
dinosaurs
use.
instead of barns. Excellent.
Well, they will use them as beasts of burden if they need to. It's perfect. You can do so much. You can have like a Stegosaurus chariot or something, right? There's
Oh,
so much
goodness.
room here.
It's quite funny, actually. I've just realized you could flop out like a kid's dinosaur set to get kit bashing with them, and it wouldn't even be
Yes,
inaccurate.
I've seen people do this. I actually have a small army of Exodites myself. I've grabbed a bunch of dinosaurs from the Seraphon, right? And I've been mounting stuff on their backs.
Oh, God. Actually, I will come back, circle back to Xenos. Oh, no, have we done Xenos? Homebrewing Euro Xenos yet?
We haven't done that yet.
Can we, like, sidestep into this one? Because I think this is a really good place to do it.
Absolutely.
So, before we start talking about homebrewing Xenos, guys, I gotta tell you, if you're into doing your own homebrew models, and you want to, whatever, the lizard men from AOS are, like, begging for someone, if it's not already been done half a dozen times, are begging people to come in and be like, I'm going to, with the help of some tactful kit bashing, I'm going to turn these guys into my own homebrew Xenos, and we're going to have this little planet here. Blah, 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 blah. The Imperium.
Those exist, Tom.
Say again.
Those exist.
Do they exist?
They're called the Slani. You can check.
Oh,
I
knew about this. I knew about the Slani.
Sorry,
The Slani look more like frogs than the lizard men.
No. You're thinking of depictions of the old ones. The beings that are referred to as Slani are actually the lizard men.
I'm looking at. I'm thinking about and looking at Slani models. They look like frogs.
This is right. The Slani. 14K.
Old Slan, Eldari.
Oh, you're looking at the old metal models. No, you gotta look at that one art piece, the one John Blanche art piece that canonizes the Slani as a thing. Those are Rogue Trader era.
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. It's just when I'm thinking about the Solani, I'm thinking more specifically in the same way that there's like a bazillion different kinds of human in the setting, right?
Hmm.
A bazillion different kinds of this, and that, whatever, right? Have you sent me? I found the article. You put it in my DMs. So what you have.
Yeah, yeah.
The lizard. I mean, specifically homebrewing models. You don't have to homebrew lizard men in 40k and say they are the Solani. You don't have to do that. I think
No, you don't.
they look different enough from this in my DMs, and that you guys can find the John Blanche art that they don't have to be the same thing. But
Hmm.
similarly, there's other things across all sorts of other tabletop game systems that are also begging for this kind of thing. I'm waiting for someone to get some quar and put some las guns in their hand.
Oh,
Like, come on, that'd be fucking
yeah.
hilarious. You
Yeah,
know,
of course.
the core conglomerate, right? And it's just like
Oh
two
my
worlds
god.
in some random solar system. And the reason they still live is because the solar system's worth diddly, you know. Or so I don't know, whatever reason, right? You can come
Mhm.
with a billion different reasons.
Well,
Um
yeah, they're very otherwise peaceful, boring creatures, so the Imperium never runs into them.
Yeah, or just like, oh no, it's actually core. Video game core, the tabletop
Yeah.
game core takes place in 40k on some backwater fucking planet.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Or perhaps there are two worlds in the same system inhabited by Quor that are
Yeah.
at war, and any like vessel that comes into the system is like shot by a giant laser that they have or something.
Oh my goodness. I mean, there's so many opportunities to homebrew your own Xenos, and if you're not doing models and you have no intention of making any miniatures, your options open up even more,
Mhm.
because then
Oh,
your bed of inspiration is quite literally limitless.
oh, CMA Money Dog says something quite interesting here. There are also the Night Clans, as in the Extite version of Night Houses. So these have gotten a little bit of a recontextualization, as I understand it. That I think particularly the Scatach Wraith Knights, which are kind of what we're looking at here, are likely to be guardians of Exodite worlds. I don't believe the Exodites themselves uh keep these big constructs in the modern lore. I know they were in like old Epic, but keep in mind that the Scatach Wraith Knights in particular are sort
Mm,
of the webway traveling guardians that show up here and there.
yeah. Beavers and the Dam says Sylvaneth used as plant Xenos would go hard. Wasn't there a?
Oh,
Oh,
I know what you're about to say.
yeah, I know you. But what was their name? It was like a TH. The
Oh,
Thran,
are we
something
talking
like
about the
that.
Troth?
The Troth. That was it.
The
Yeah, yeah.
Troth, yeah.
There was a type of abhuman that I believe got entirely wiped out, or it's inferred that they did. I'm might be misquoting this. That were plant people that used to exist, and
Hmm.
it's quite funny actually because I'm gonna tell you guys something you might not know. I hope you know this because I say it all the fucking time. But people who are just getting into 40k don't understand what the difference between an abhuman, a mutant, and a xenos is.
Oh,
And to simplify it for you, every single one of them is an imperial designation. That is it. That is all it is. If I have to see another person tell me that the Leagues of Votan are abhumans, I'm going to eat them because they're not abhumans. Because you know why they're not abhumans? Because what that person thinks an abhuman is incorrect. An abhuman
yeah.
is a variant of human being that the Imperium of Man has decided it has use for. A mutant is a variant of human being that the Imperium of Man has decided it doesn't have use for. A Xenos is a living creature that the Imperium refuses to recognize as human for literally any conceivable reason whatsoever. That is it. Xenos are obviously there's common associations we make with these three categorizations that do fulfill common conceptions of these these ideals, but those common conceptions ignore nuance that is very very prevalent in the setting. It's why when you go to Games Workshop's website and search for Xenos, you find the Leagues of Votan, because those categorizations are the categorizations the Imperium makes. Because and we can sit here and argue all day about if the Imperium are good guys or bad guys. Doesn't change the fact that they are the protagonists, and we take that protagonist point of view. And protagonist isn't always good guy. It's just it's a
Hmm.
primary point of view. And those categorizations are taken from that protagonist point of view. Sorry, I didn't mean to have a rant there. I
Yeah,
did not mean
no,
to go
that's
off on a
fine.
rant there.
Yeah, bear in mind, Nixavotan, Xenos. Squats, abhuman.
Yes, yes, squats abhuman. Votan, yes. That's a brilliant way of categorizing it to make it understandable.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't squat? I have to check Caligoon's confirmation on this, but maybe you can tell me. Isn't squat a slur to the Votan?
To the Votan proper, I believe so. But they're also the squat prospectors on Necromunda, who kind of just chill out and probably accept the moniker because it gives them an in.
Interesting. Random question about custom Xenos. Rogue traders can often have the ward of trade. Do you mean the
Warrant.
warrant? No, that's all rogue
Yeah.
traders. That is the requirement to be a rogue trader. That allows them to communicate and trade with Xenos, right? To an extent, yeah. Could a rogue trader potentially keep a Xenos race? No, not a race. No rogue trader is going to have the power or fleet or function to maintain an entire civilization or race. You got to think rogue trader like retinue, you know.
Yeah.
These are this is like, here's Jim. I took Jim from Dying Planet. He is the last of his kind. That is a rogue trader thing to do. A rogue trader thing that's not to do is, hey, I have an entire civilization of Xenos I'm keeping alive in my fleet. Even the warrant of trade is not going to keep that rogue trader safe from the Imperium.
If they're doing that, they're gonna try and keep it as secret as fucking possible. They are not gonna say a word about it, and that is a big risk for them. So it's probably gonna be something very important that they get out of it if they're doing something like that. It's probably gonna be, oh, these guys' spinal fluid makes me young, wonderful.
Oh yeah, the old immortality MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pulling an Avatar 2. But I think it's a fun one though, because like rogue traders are at their best when they're planet hopping swashbucklers out for hyper capitalist ends, who occasionally end up doing a mission of mercy, but then it's 40k, so it's all for naught anyway. It's like you could take the cast of Atlantis and be like, hey, this is a rogue trader and retinue. And it would all go exactly the same, except until it gets to the end and the Imperium finds out and kills everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Now,
Oh.
as for actually other Xenos species, a niche that I found super easy to write within is that you'll find many, many references throughout 40k to the various slaver species of the galaxy. So, aliens that will abduct humans to do manual labor or for some other nefarious purpose. Dark Eldar being the greatest example.
Yeah.
Crave being a fun little mini example that only some people will know about. The Crave Marauders.
Yeah.
When I did my own Xenos homebrew, what I called the Oguks, their whole thing was slightly cyberpunk looking society. They are slavers because humans don't have the financial rights that an Ogux does in their society, and so they can just trade them. It also sets them up to be a nice villain in various stories, and then they can also just be killed off and have motivations going there.
Yeah.
Isn't there a Xenos called the Slot? You're talking about the Slot Lehman. Yeah, the little worm colonies that have magical powers that aren't psychic in nature.
Yeah. You know what you could homebrew? It's a race. You don't even need to homebrew your own Xenos. You can just homebrew one that already exists. And I'm not talking about one of the mainline ones. I'm talking about vampires. You can homebrew your own vampires. And it can be...
What about the Rack Goal?
Oh, those are the yeah, those are the big dudes that were had a whole empire during the Great Crusade, right?
I don't believe so. They're I'm pretty sure they're a Cronus Expanse.
How'd you spell
species.
that? Right.
RAK-GOL. Or am I confusing them with something else? They're the weird nuclear science beasts of the dark.
Oh no, I'm wrong. Yeah, sorry, I was thinking
species.
of the I forgot. The ones I was thinking of in the Liber Xenologists as well. Oh goodness gracious me! I did like a fucking 8-minute section on them in a video, and I've forgotten the Crave. I'm thinking of the Crave.
Oh, the Crave, yeah, Crave. I already talked about them. Yeah, they're great. Feral Fish 500 bits. Thank you so much. My totally original Skaven Xeno.
Absolutely,
Actually
100%. Yeah, Pete the Wargamer, quite a while ago now, at least a couple of years ago, did a wonderful Skaven 40k Skaven kill team. And they look like they could belong in the setting in a heartbeat, using a combination of Skaven, Gene Stealer Cult, and a few AdMech bits, and just uniting them with a very coherent paint scheme. It absolutely do that. You'll have so much fun. Can you imagine rocking up with a proxy kill team and it's 40k-ified Skaven?
Oh,
such a cool thing to do.
Oh, that's great. Probably do that with a new guard kill team really well.
Oh, here's a great question. Depot Doom. What are some good do and don't stuff when it comes to homebrewing new Xenos? So, I would say the first thing that comes to mind for me on don'ts is don't homebrew something that holds even the remotest candle in terms of scale to any of the established ones. You want to look for the small ones like the Slort, like the Vampires, like the Ratgol and the Crave. You want to look at like the Slaney. You want to look at those. That's the kind of scale you're playing with, yeah? So don't make a whole big-ass empire. Those have already been established. You're not making the next Tau.
They can have a few systems, maybe. Like, we have random Xenos that have a few systems. But bear in mind where those systems are. If they are near to the Terran core, there is, like, no chance.
Yeah. Well here's a fun one.
Perhaps if they had a world.
Something you can do is, another way of doing it is like the Slort, both the Slort and the Vampires do this. And that is that they are all over the galaxy. But they are in just these tiny, come to cults again, but they're in these tiny cults that are spread all over the place, living among us without our knowledge, because they have the ability to do so. And maybe so you want to homebrew your own Xenos. Maybe it's a Xenos that through one means or another has the ability to go unseen most of the time. And that's how they get by, perhaps. Lehman says, mine are based on the Crotalids, basically a seething tide of armor that strips any world they come across of anything made of meat. Yo, thank you, Scoffing Mocker, for the 5 gifted subs. Much appreciated, my dude. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my guy.
Well, honestly, Lehman, that has a bit more precedent than I initially thought. Because that's quite similar to the way in which humans need to work around HRUD migrations. Because proximity to the HRUD will simply age you to death.
Oh,
especially on mass.
Actually,
and so HRUDs just migrate across the galaxy.
This actually happened to a Space Marine chapter. One that's very popular that you'll all know about, the Star Phantoms. The Star Phantoms had a homeworld that they... so people think their homeworld is in Badab, and whilst it is in Badab, it's only been in Badab for maybe 400 or 500 years. Because for 2,000 years since their founding, their homeworld was somewhere else. I think it was called like Harkonnen or Hakanen or Hakar or something like that. It begins with an H and has an A following it.
Harkonnen would make sense, just as a Dune reference.
And their homeworld was being invaded by orcs, and it was a really big deal. They thought the orcs were gonna win. But it's like, it's not unheard of, like Crimson Fists, right? It's not unheard of for Space Marines to be like, no, we'll do this. We'll make our last stand. Because it's never truly hopeless, right? That's the whole Space Marine 40k thing, right? Until the HRUD arrived. At which point the Star Phantoms went, oh, we know about these guys. The homeworld is lost. We're leaving. Goodbye. And they migrated halfway across the galaxy. Because when the HRUD arrive, unless there's like a full kind of force to meet them out that's ready, there's not a whole lot that can be done. And a Space Marine chapter, maybe a Space Marine chapter is enough, right? But a Space Marine chapter that's already busy fighting an Orc war? That's not good. That is not two Xenos you want to be fighting at the same time.
It's really funny we talk about this, because just today, I finished writing a little guard homebrew that I showed to Tom before stream.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, and literally the last line of their details is like, oh yeah, they got eaten by Tyranids. They just got eaten. Yeah. Bye-bye, no more.
It happens. It happens to the best of us. It happens to Space Marine chapters whole. Sometimes you just get eaten by Tyranids.
Oh, Jeff is asking something. Zarrek, what did you mention before about Xenos close to the core? Yeah, so if a Xenos species is not this sort of migratory or parasitic thing in nature, then if they have their own little domain, they're unlikely to survive long at all if that world or worlds or empire is anywhere near the Imperial core. Anything in Segmentum Solar is very, very dangerous because this is just high traffic Imperial space.
Yeah.
If you're having a larger like Xenos group, you're going to have a way easier time justifying them if they exist on the galactic rim or something, right? If they exist in in like the ghoul stars or the what's that term I'm forgetting? For like the edge of the galaxy.
The edge? The edging? No.
That's
definitely not
no.
it.
But weird crap. Really, really weird shit happens at the edge of the galaxy.
Yeah, well,
Freaks people out.
it's why the Coronis Expanse, the Ghoul Stars, the Halo Stars, and Jericho's Reach.
The Halo Stars, that's it.
Are so much more gothic than everywhere else because they have gothic. I'm grossly oversimplifying this, but they have these exceedingly heavy gothic horror themes where you everywhere else, eternal war, and then you come to this, and it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go over to this planet. Oh no, eldritch alien I've never heard of that's going to eat my brains. It's just anything can happen out there, which is why there's such great spaces to homebrew in for anyone that's not the Imperium. If you're Imperium or Renegade affiliated, and I mean Renegade, not Chaos, right? If you're Imperium or Renegade affiliated, those places are sometimes just as bad as the Warp. But if you're like making some random Xenos or some like Chaos Space Marine warband that has its own like host, these are great for that. These are really, really good for that. The other thing I'd be wary of is not just the Galactic Core like from like Terra and Sol System, but the literal Galactic Core, because one of the earliest bits of lore. Hey, we're talking about the Leagues of Votann. One of the earliest bits of lore about the Leagues of Votann that we got is that they are constantly purging anyone who thinks they're safe from the various wars and stuff by going to the center of the galaxy. These guys are just running. These guys are just playing Monster Hunter 24/7, and they're winning.
Bear in mind, the Galactic Core is very dangerous. It's full of like supermassive it's like smaller black holes, supermassive stars.
Yeah.
Just things that go against our understanding of physics, right? Non-Euclidean shit goes on there.
Yeah, and then you got the Votann who are just like built for that, Yeah, it's a fun one. Right. Is there another one you would like to schmoove to? I know the stream's gone for a bit. Don't want to go on for too much longer because it's too hot and sweaty and I'm tired.
I would love to talk about navigator houses and assassin cults, actually.
Oh yeah, crack on. Absolutely. I might chime in. Do the assassin's cults first. I might chime in for navigator houses.
Yeah. So assassin cults, people, to sort of follow on from the.
Oh, we have to do. Sorry. We have to do the Knight Auxiliary afterwards because they've been asking for that fucking.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
We've got to do that afterwards for sure.
That'll close out the stream. So, as we were talking about cults before, you get some really weird stuff, particularly as I was saying, as it relates to worlds that are inducted into the Imperium, where they are entered by like the Missionaria Galaxia. They come out, sort of appropriate the local religion and all that, and this will essentially create the perfect breeding ground for weird little sub-religions. A big part of this are death cults or assassin cults that crop up. The easiest example of all is to point to those like classic death cult assassin models that you got for the Inquisition, right? The two women in latex with their blades and stuff. They are one of many, many, many death cults from which the Imperium finds a fun and very easily replenishable group of assassins. Now, there is a world, if I recall correctly, full of blade masters. Well, not full of, but home to a clan of blade masters. I believe this is brought up in Eisenhorn and Ravener. There's a particular there's a particular school of blade mastery, but essentially you get these oblique little groups of murderers who are so specialized in their own ways of doing things that they are become so useful to inquisitors, rogue traders, whatever relatively free agent is moving around. They might even get seconded, say, to say a particularly important guard commander's retinue to be a bodyguard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eisenhorn did get a sword from them. I forget what they're called though. That's what immediately springs to mind. And you get a lot of these. You get a lot of these fun little groups where you can homebrew out their very strange ways of doing battle, and that is entirely had thousands of years just to gestate and become something strange.
Yeah.
I would really appreciate if someone could remind me of what that place is called. It's really annoying me. Yeah, they're also their main thing is that they exist outside of the Assassinorum, right? So because the Officio Assassinorum is its own imperial body with, High Lord representation, they can't just be kept as a permanent attaché to someone, right?
Mm.
They have their own systems, their own quotas, things they need to do. However, what these guys allow you to do is to have assassins on permanent rotation who are oathed to serve somebody else, right, as a character. Carthay, that's it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Oxif Shul. That's Carthay. Lovely, lovely. But yeah, so not too much to say about them, but they are a really, really fun thing. Oh, question. What would happen if Lucius the Eternal is slain by a Oh no, we're getting into Lucius discussions. Oh my god. I can't do a Lucius discussion today, Tom.
What was the question? What would happen if Lucius the Eternal is slain by a custodian, seeing how Lucius takes over the body of Pride? I can give you a very unsatisfying answer. It'll never happen.
Yeah.
GW will never, because alright, here's the thing about Lucius, right? I'll tell you what'll happen. Because this has actually happened before, just not with a custodian. Insert named character will kill Lucius. That character won't take any pride in doing it. Slaanesh brings Lucius back anyway. Because that's what happens.
Yeah.
Lucius is a very dated plot device for 40k. A funny one is it still has a lot of fandom surrounding him, but he is as far as walking MacGuffins and characters go, he's very, very dated.
He would be way better.
Someone says that custodian is dead, someone's trying to rage bait me, dog. Maybe not.
Lucius would be way better as a character if he were not so important. If he were a background character like fucking Doom Rider, had the same place in the lore, he could have a ridiculous ability like that, and it would be fine, and it wouldn't matter too much, right?
Mm.
Because he wouldn't need to get brought up at all. But because he is an important character, he has to interact with other named characters, and then just is not allowed to win because that changes the setting.
Yeah, it's a we talk about 40k being a very imperfect setting, and we always I say we, but people, 40k fans, whatever, writers in GW as well, often will lean back on the whole don't trust everything you see in here. What's the phrase about the
everything is canon, not everything is true.
Yeah, which is a annoying ass fucking thing. And this is very much well within the remit of that very annoying phrase.
But yeah, so to close out, assassin cults, they are so fun. They can be about any kind of weird weapon.
Yeah.
Do you have someone who is like a cult of specialist ammo producers, and their whole thing is they love making weird ammunition for bolt guns or auto guns or something? That's a fun little death cult. There you go. Oh, bye bye, Kai. Thank you for the 95 bits.
Thanks so much, Kai. You take it easy.
Yeah, if you need someone to sort of come in and be a sort of random specialist in a particular mode of killing, they're so great just to lean upon.
Yeah.
The Assassin's Cult is the one that comes with the box of the Rogue Trader? Question mark, says Jev. Yeah, I do believe there is a assassin. There's a Death Cult assassin that comes with that one Rogue Trader set.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Rogue Trader Entourage. That's it.
Right. What was the other one?
Navigator houses.
That was it. Oh my goodness. So navigator houses are really fun. So chat, just in case you don't know what a navigator house is, they are one of, if not the most vital foundations of the Imperium of Man. Obviously, we have the Emperor who acts as the Astronomicon. But that would mean a whole lot less if it wasn't for the navigator houses. If you wish to travel through the stars safely, you kind of need a navigator. Now, there are other things that will do in its stead, but like in an ideal world, you want a navigator. These are the three-eyed humans. What's the name of the third eye? It's a funny name.
Let me have a look here.
They're the three-eyed humans, and it's actually quite funny because we talk about abhumans and like, hey, this is a mutated type of human that we have a purpose for, therefore we will tolerate it. The navigators are almost an exception to this, in as much as they are profoundly sought after. I want to say respected, but certain, if not respected, certainly valued. They are the hypocrisy of the Imperium put on show when the Imperium's intolerance is forced to meet its necessities. And they are a necessity for absolute certainty. And so even though by every possible metric in which we would gauge the Imperium of Man's intolerance and prejudice, the navigators get to be this living exception, because they are so necessary. It's really fun when we talk about homebrewing navigator houses, because navigator houses... I'll let you talk about the incest. Because navigator houses... you know, navigator houses
I was gonna.
Yeah, I figured. Navigator houses are, like, core to every part of the Imperium's military, because every part of the Imperium's military needs to get from one place to another. And so navigator houses will have relationships and good stead with various military bodies. So you might have, Navigator House X has a recurring relationship with insert Space Marine chapter, insert Guard Regiment, And so you're going to find that all of the notable campaigns and events that these chapters and these regiments and these whatever night houses, are undertaking and succeeding in a way going to be off the back of these navigator houses. It's a shared victory through and through, and so you can have a really fun narrative and cultural thing. It's like, hey, here's my navigator house. My navigator house has existed for this length of time. It has this kind of mutation, these kind of mutations in addition to the normal stuff. Maybe it often produces women. Maybe it often produces men. Maybe it often produces fellas who are missing their arms and legs, but whatever the fuck, right? You can go really, really hard with it. Because, well, GW does. Zarrek, would you like to talk about the incest?
Oh, yeah, great. So, one of the weird little things that navigators depend upon is that if they interbreed with a mortal human, a standard baseline human, that human is almost definitely not going to inherit the abilities of the third eye.
Yeah.
I believe there's sometimes an implication that they can inherit the eye, but it might just be a vestigial organ.
Sure, yeah.
But typically, they cannot maintain their abilities through reproduction with standard humans. Because they are the products of direct genetic engineering from the golden age of humanity. Norn, you are right, it is a recessive gene, generally. I'm sure there's probably an exception somewhere. There's always an exception.
Yeah.
But long term, it is not they need. Lord says, I think Zarrek is excited to talk about the Wincess. Are you kidding me? Look,
Well.
so because they are a limited product, right? They are produced by a particular the chat right now, honestly. Because they're produced by a particular series of experiments in the Golden Age, there is a very limited number of them. They don't have a particularly diverse gene pool. And so it requires that navigators always reproduce with other navigators to ensure that there will be more navigators later down the line. And the larger the Imperium gets, the more navigators are needed. Now, this gets a bit funkier because while, some houses will make a diplomatic agreement to marry off their children, have them make some children, have some slightly less inbred people. The issue is that quite frequently they won't trust others enough, or they won't have the right opportunity going for a while, and so they will just. Some of the kids of the family will have their own kids, and it becomes a whole thing. But this actually lends into a really fun part of navigators, which is the extent of their mutations. Some of the most common ones I've heard mentioned are like the absence of a chin or extra knuckles. They are typically taller and skinnier than most normal humans, but you can get even weirder with it. I've heard about some who get webbed fingers or hands and feet. Of course, the more inbred they are, the worse the mutations are. And you can get very inventive. Now, a large number, quite a lot, of navigator houses are actually based on Terra itself. There is the whole thing, there's a whole quarter, it's called the Navigator's Quarter on Terra, where the wealthiest and the most long-standing houses have their bases, right?
Yeah.
But others will be scattered throughout the Imperium, usually on safer hive worlds or wherever else they can get a holding. And the particularly interesting thing about all this is that they have personal armies. They have whole armies of security personnel given over to safeguarding them because they are so important to the survival of the Imperium.
Yeah.
That the Imperium does not mind that they will, gain their own armies. That's there for their safety and the Imperium's safety at the end of it.
Yeah.
So, not only are you doing a whole lineage and a whole creepy, very gothic, fucked up family thing, you also get to have a military that is non-standardized, that has room for creativity, that will respond to wherever your little navigator house is based.
Yeah.
And then you get to have a lot of fun deciding, oh, what kind of monster did Grandpa turn into? Because, as you may well be aware, navigators, when they get to their older ages and the power of their eye begins to overcome them, begin to mutate even more.
Yeah.
These people are kept locked away in the basements of navigator spires, usually, because it would be uncouth. They don't want to be killed when they get old and creepy and mutated. So we're going to look after Grandpa. We're going to feed him, I don't know, some guy or woman off the street every so often. That'll be fine. No one cares. We're the navigators. We can do what we want. And you can have some real Edgar Allan Poe shit going on with a navigator house.
Yeah.
Which I think is the most fun thing. You can have, say, a navigator character who is so paranoid about their father or something, slipping through the cracks in the wall, or living in the floor below them and hearing them. Someone's saying, so you're saying I could make the incestuous Addams family in 40k? Why did I read Lehman? Why did I read that? Screw you, honestly. You could actually.
Sorry, I am desperate to use the bathroom. When I come back, we'll do Night Auxilia.
Yeah, we'll finish off the Night Auxilia when Tom gets back. But I can riff on these guys for a wee bit longer. Well, you said the Addams family, and actually this moves on to a whole other part of the Navigators that is going to be really fun. Is that because they are nobles, because they are the noble of the noble, right? This is the Hand Navigator 2. Oh my god. So because they are so powerful, because they are usually so wealthy, they will have the most in vogue fashion. In fact, they will probably define whole fashion statements. We do know, in fact, that some navigators do travel around to different worlds for holidays, basically. It's in the opening of Rites of Passage, a good novel that you should read if you want to know more about navigators. Is that the main character, right in the opening, she takes her new husband to Necromunda to watch some pit fighting, and then arranges to have him killed. have him just die in Necromunda. No one's going to question that. And they will travel around, they'll go around. Fashion statements, which navigators are wearing Jordans. Honestly, you might have strange footwear come up, especially perhaps if the navigator house has, say, really weak calves or something, so they need really tall boots, essentially with leg braces built in.
Oh, that's loads better.
You got so much room. Welcome back, Tom. So much room to customize, to do fashion. There's so I don't know if there are too many do's and don'ts of navigators, Tom. What do you think?
Is it?
Oh, someone's saying, do navigators' houses actually build their own armies, or do they just have a sort of protection from those they aid with warp travel? No, they have their own personal, like a bodyguard, bodyguard organizations that are at scale with armies.
Yeah,
they're not armies, quote unquote.
The Cronus Rogue Trader book specifically says that they rival that of planetary defense forces, and that will be per house.
Yeah, per house. Navigator's house, this navigator house, that. What about homeless navigators joining illegal spice trades? Is the thing. You can have renegade navigator houses. You have plenty of navigators that go renegade because they hate their job.
Yeah.
So not all navigators get the luxury of choosing what they're assigned to. Many will just be assigned to doing some mercantile trader navigation. Bear in mind that some mercantile traders of the Imperium don't use warp travel. They raw dog that shit. They do not FTL.
They do not have next day delivery.
Yeah. But yeah, so they might not enjoy their job. They might defect. This is a thing that navigators can do. Yeah, navigators got the Habsburg jawline. Real. If you want inspiration, look at the Habsburgs.
Oh, what a horrible thing to say. Is it bad? Is it bad to have a crush on Cassia?
No.
Even though her sister is, like, probably her mother.
Look. If you date someone who's the product of incest, that's not incest.
That's true. You're breaking the chain. You're doing the world a service.
Yeah. You're doing the world a service.
You're doing the G
bye,
service. Such a stupid fucking thing. Oh, that's fucking horrific. Oh no.
Also, they made her conventionally attractive. They made her more goth.
They knew exactly what they were doing. Oh.
Yeah, Nick Dimitri, you are right. They are just the Habsburgs. Like, yeah. And I'm thinking, what was that one Spanish king who had the really odd jaw? There's like a painting of him that I think shows it, even though they're trying to.
King Charles II of Spain.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Just look at inbred nobility throughout European history. You will find all the fodder you need for inspiration.
Trying not to make a joke about Moots and Aaron at this horrible juncture. I'm just saying if they were on the stream right now, they'd have made the joke about me. All right, that's all I'm saying. Right, shall we have a quick chat before we close up about the chat's been calling Night Auxilia, the household guard of night houses and chaos night houses. There is actually...
Which, by the way...
Oh, sorry, go on.
So no, you go ahead.
There is actually some artwork for these the
Yeah.
Chaos version of these in the ninth ed Chaos Knights Codex. I will put it quickly in stream discussion. So I
Yeah.
won't put it on screen because we're just doing a no screen stream today.
Tom. Also, I want to share. There is a single image of actual knight household guard that I've been able to track down. Let me.
Oh, do you want to put that in there as well?
Yeah. I'll pop it in there. Let me find it.
But to make a long
I was.
story short, what's Zarrek's doing that? These guys are exactly what you think they are. Although it does specify in oh, where does it specify this? It does specify in White Dwarf 126, which is, oh my god, this is quite a while ago. That it's not, they don't quite have the same like heavy firepower as like the Guard or a regiment. But they would still be like well-equipped guys. This is a very oh, this is Lewis Jones artwork. I'd recognize
It
Lewis
is
Jones
Lewis
artwork
Jones
anywhere.
artwork, of course.
Where's this from?
I got it off the Warhammer Instagram. I don't know where it shows up.
Fair. Well, it'll be, if it's Lewis Jones, it'll be a recent Knights Codex then. It has to be. Oh, I love Lewis Jones so much, Zarrek. He's so good.
I know. I have like 2 of his art pieces like on my wall.
Oh, what a treat. His the way he does like ecclesiarchy stuff is, and Mechanica stuff, and Death Guard, shit, everything. The only thing he's done that I haven't liked is when he tried to do Trajan Valoris and ended up making him look like Ron Perlman.
He does look like Ron Perlman.
You know the one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Looks like the fucking whatever his name is from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. So here's the thing about Knight Household Guards is you can do them in a bunch of different ways with their own combat doctrine, their own ethos, whatever, but you need to make sure that it fulfills the purpose of supporting the knights. You know, they can be defensive, they can be offensive, they can be quite reserved or suicidal, whatever you want to make them, but they need to operate as a thing that supports the knights, right? That is their function. You could make them religious. You could make them knightly. You can make them. Shit, you could probably get away with making them. Oh, could you get away with making them Imperial Truth? Maybe not. Not sure. But
Depends.
You can give them guns. You can give them melee weapons. You can give them a mix of both. You can really go ham with it. Like with the Imperial.
You can make them borderline Skitarii.
With the Imperial Guard, you're like, hey, these are my army men who shoot things. With the Crusaders, here are my melee guys who melee things. With the Sisters of Battle, you've got the power armored religious ladies. With the Knight households, as long as you're fulfilling that motif of the goal of supporting the knights, you can do just about fucking anything. There is so much room to play with, in the same way that when people homebrew their Chaos Space Marines, they homebrew the cult that goes alongside them as an afterthought. When you homebrew Chaos Knights, people just don't even homebrew the Household Guard.
Which pisses me off. Like
I know, right?
If you have an Imperial Knight homebrew and you do not talk about your guard or the sacristans or anything like that, I don't want to read it.
It's such an easy thing. And once again, this is we spoke about this near the start of the stream, that one of the great things about these alternative factions is that there are so few rules that your freedom as a creative is almost unlimited. And I think few embody that as much as these guys do. So we know that the two definitives is that, first off, they have to support their knights, and the second thing is they're not going to have a lot of heavy armor in terms, and by that we mean like vehicles and tanks and stuff, right? That's definitely no artillery or anything like that. So they're infantry, definitely infantry style stuff, and that makes sense because the heavy armor is the knights.
Yes.
But outside of that, you are free to go nuts with the culture, the philosophy, the combat doctrine, the way they do things and get stuff done. It's such a freeing thing to homebrew that no one ever thinks about, and it's still humans. And we're not dim. We know that people homebrewing human beings is like the most popular thing to do, and somehow these guys never get touched.
Yeah. Jeff is asking, are they only for the defense of the Knight world, or do they travel to campaigns with the Knights? I know for Chaos Knights, definitely travel with.
Yeah, I would certainly err on the side that it's like everywhere. I think much like a PDF, we can certainly place an emphasis on defensive stuff. Because we know from a couple of sources, like, hey, this source says they're there to defend the homeworlds.
Oh,
I would
Lord.
also say, real quick, I would also say if Chaos Knights can do it, or Chaos Knight Household Guard can do it, I refuse to believe there's not an equivalent reason as to why Loyalists can't do it. You know?
Yeah. Lord, Lord 1 trillion or something. I don't know what that number is. Says, wait, can I have Chaos Knight Auxilia on horses? Horse mounted
Oh, that sounds cool.
Auxilia is a very good idea because that would allow them to keep pace with the knights. If they're
Yes.
on crusade with the knights, and you have like a cavalry line that accompanies your knights moves at the same
Oh,
pace,
that's really cool,
that makes
actually.
total sense.
Yeah. And here's a fun one as well that some of you guys might be forgetting. Not all night houses, not all night houses are the holy, knightly, chivalrous type. There are
Mhm.
also Mechanicus night houses.
Yes. You can, like I said, you can have borderline Skitari as your household guard.
Yeah.
They might not use the same weapons because they're probably a lot more limited, but they'll probably be using hotshot las guns or something of a
Yep.
similar effect.
This is again, it's such a freeing, it's such an open-ended homebrew faction that no one thinks
Hmm.
about. That I can honestly
Oh,
see.
Tom,
Yeah.
Tom, do you know those models from Necromunda, the House Cawdor Ridgewalkers?
Yeah, they're the oh goodness gracious me. They're the two-legged, like, they kind of look like the things from the Rayman 3. And
They
that
do.
you know the end of the boss level, the boss of the first boss you fight, that he's on the sorry, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here. Yes, I know
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
they're very
yeah,
Mad
yeah.
Max, aren't they?
No, so yeah, someone's saying mini knights. Yeah, I think they'd be perfect as a sort of as a thing, right, for a more mechanicus oriented a night house to give to some of their like personal household guard because having the household guard, individual night pilots also need to be concerned about internecine warfare amongst their house. Sometimes they will try to have each other offed so that they can assume the position of their elders. And so part of the household guard is going to be a personal guard, right? Like a bunch of bodyguards specifically for when they're outside of their night suits.
Yeah,
Because being out of their night suits, they are incredibly vulnerable.
yeah,
So,
right. Oh, sorry.
opportunities.
If there's anything else you want to talk about, now's the time because I'm about to start asking for questions. We got
No,
another.
I think I'm done. It's too much. It's too much.
It's funny though because I think if GW put more emphasis onto household guard, way more people would be inclined. And
Yeah.
maybe a squad or two for the tabletop, you get way more people would get into buying them as an army, and way more people would get into
Hmm.
homebrewing them.
You could have an actual combat patrol.
Yeah. Oh yeah, with no knights. With no
Oh,
knights. Oh, that's
well, actually,
funny.
sacristans as well. I am so upset that they don't have sacristan models. They used to have the sacristan shrine, right, which was like the forge shrine terrain piece, and then they got rid of it because
Yeah.
they kind of stopped caring about the terrain. But sacristans, I think, are some of the most interesting visual depictions of tech priests in the setting.
Yeah. Right. Everyone. We got 10 minutes left. We'll do a quick bit of Q&A and then we'll call it there. So, if anyone's got any questions, whether it's questions related to what we're talking about or not, just homebrew questions in general, now is the time. I would ask, just because my brain is very close to being cooked, both figuratively and literally.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I would beg you not to ask me big, complex questions. I know Lehman is probably already lying. Oh no, is Lehman gone? Oh no, he's there. I just reckon Lehman's probably lining up some paragraph question, Lehman. I
Um,
can't take it this evening, I'm afraid. But if you got any questions, whatever, we will. Thank you, Mario. How's it going, Mario? You doing all right, my dude? Mario says, I disagree. The Ron Perlman Trajan art is amazing. It's amazing artwork. It's just then we end up looking at his face, and it's like, it's quite funny.
ah. What do you think of a Skaven Night House? Well, actually, you could do that as a chaos thing, right? Because I was going through one of the old Realms of Chaos books, and I'm not going to use that as a basis for lore, but one of the random mutations you can get on the old like big D1000 mutation tables is a rat head. Let's see.
How do knights gain their auxiliaries? Do they just have to go about recruiting or something like that? Also, could chaos knights have cultists and even demons? I've going backwards to forwards. The chaos one, at that point, you're looking at more like a mixed chaos kind of thing. You're not going to have demons whose whole thing is to support the knights. Chaos space marines who summon demons typically just point them in a direction and hope for the best, unless they're unless they're doing deals with more scheming demons. Don't think of demons like, again, like we spoke about at the start of the stream. Try your best not to think about demons like a regimented, like army style force. It seldom does it work that way. That being
If I
said,
may,
oh yeah, go
if you look at those creepy ravens, right, that come around that one particular Chaos Knight, I'm pretty sure those are a kind of
on.
demon.
Ooh.
Those ravens.
Oh god, I'm yawning now. Oh no, what knight is that? It's the Abominant, right?
That's right, the Abominant.
Oh god, Chaos Knights stay winning. Honestly, it's the coolest
Yeah.
stuff. Actually, the coolest stuff. Let's see. And the other half of your question is, how do they get recruits? Here's the thing: if you're on a night world with, like, not Mechanicus knights, right? Because the Mechanicus one, I'm assuming that's pretty self-explanatory. But if you're in a night world, like, you are honoring those guys. Those are honorable motherfuckers. It is an honor to serve them. It is an honor to do their, scouting or foot soldier. I'm losing my vocabulary here.
Yeah.
But it's an honor to do that thing. If there are knights on your homeworld, like, you are chuffed. You are almost always happy about that. Unlike when there's space marines on your homeworld, it's a real roll of the dice, depending how that goes. What's your thought? Norn asks, what's your thought on using Genestealer cults to expand homebrew Tyranid faction? Well, I don't know if I'm the best qualified person to answer this. It's just that I know what I do know is the relationship between Genestealer cults and Tyranids, and that's the second they get close enough to be described as fighting together, one of the two ends up on the menu.
Actually, allow me.
Oh yeah, please,
Uh,
yeah.
so we get a little bit of a look at this in Day of Ascension, the Adrian Tchaikovsky 40k novel. And it's described in that book that when the Tyranids arrive, some of the cult disperse at the behest of their broodlord, right? They're sent off to go and colonize other worlds with their stuff. So if you're doing Genestealer cults to expand your homebrew Tyranid faction, I think they need to be an interesting harbinger, because that's what they are. They are harbingers, and if they are, if they're spread around a bit, you're probably going to need to think about where this original vector is coming from. You see this quite a bit with the big Genestealer cult factions, right? Like the Bladed Cog and the Rusted Claw and everything. They have on their galaxy map in 8th edition a bunch of spread vectors because, of course, when they originate in a world, they develop their culture, and then the Tyranids will arrive, and so they need to leave. And that's their vector, right? So to consider their vector, what shapes them, and what strange mutations might be unique to that Hive Fleet's Genestealers.
Yeah.
In particular, I imagine if you had a Yumgarl Genestealer cult, that would be very, very creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Malstrains.
Sorry, we're halfway through the Q&A. We're still on this one. So let's move on if we can, if that's all right. So next one is Lord, and Lord says, for my Lords of Damnation warband, should I go for the name Butchers of Innocent or Bringers of Perpetual Agony for my Elite Chosen. I personally would bin both of those and make something shorter and sweeter, personally.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
One-word names honestly work best for that sort of thing.
Yeah, something you could scream and shout quickly, like giving a command, right? Phallic Stallion, once again, brilliant username. The AA stream is just resplendent with the most wonderful fucking usernames. We had someone whose name is like fucking Hemorrhoid Cream. Now we've got fucking
The
Phallic.
Hemorrhoid King.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on a silver, red, metallic black color scheme with Gree Islands is specifically no, Phallic, don't do that. I'm not going to try and visualize that, dog.
I can't visualize that.
We literally have stream discussions. You can literally put that as like a mock-up of that in stream discussions, my dude. Jeff, can I use this tips to write about homebrew app humans? Oh, homebrewing app humans could be cool. I would just do your due diligence on understanding that like 99 out of 100 app humans, or more like something like 34 out of 35 app humans are treated very, very, very poorly by the Imperium. You've only got like 2 or 3 different app humans that the Imperium doesn't treat with abject like horror.
Mm-hmm.
Ratlings, Ogrins.
Appearance matters a lot. Bear that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the Imperium is so wishy-washy on beastmen because they specifically don't look entirely human.
Yeah, I would go to the AA YouTube channel and just search app humans. We did an app humans video on it. I think you'll find it quite insightful. Moving on. Is there room for flavor in homebrewing naval fleets? Or are they primarily generic with personalized names? I think there's room there.
Definitely.
I think with homebrewing, they could have been in this stream as well, to be fair.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to get like a whole new one because we've got like 3 minutes left, but the answer is yes. Oh, I don't even know where to begin with this. It's actually unironically quite a big question. If you want to say more than yes.
Yeah, like you got the Hydra Fur fleets, Terran fleets, the whole like old Cadian Gate fleets of the Gothic sector and everything.
Yeah,
they're all gonna have their own cultures and like different naval responses, right? That have trained against different foes.
Yeah. This is without going into the specifications of different naval battleships, the kind of things they're capable of, the kind of things that they like to use them for, etc., etc. Yeah, it can get. I imagine you can homebrew them as much as you can homebrew anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Gone.
Would a Mandrake's army work as Mandrake's kill team dudes, the many shadow entities, their home dimension? Yeah, so Aelendrach has a bunch of weird little gribblies that come from there. I don't think it would work for a whole army, because Mandrakes, by definition, are not a militarized group. They are a bunch of freaks, is what they are. And they're wonderful, and if we had the chance, I would have spent a long time talking about them today. But, you could have them as a large overbearing component of a, say, Cabal army. It would make a lot of sense if you had like a core Cabal to lead them, right? An Archon who maybe has a Mandrake, and what do they call it? Is it a Shade Raven? Is that the fucking Banshee crow thing from Aelendrach that screams and everything that hears it dies?
Yeah.
Have them in the court of the Archon. Great way to like substitute out some of the minis that GW doesn't sell anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot you can do with Dark Eldar. I'd love to talk about Dark Eldar some other time. A whole stream, perhaps.
Zarrek. Nick says, how would you even run Imperial Navy? Would you like to...
So, Games Workshop decided that Imperial Navy breachers are not allowed to go in Valkyries. Imperial Navy, Aeronautica Imperialis Valkyries. What the fuck? My advice to you is play an old tradition.
Oh no, Zarrek, I don't think... Oh goodness, I thought you were going to go off on a rant about Battlefleet Gothic.
Battlefleet Gothic's fun, but you wouldn't really get the chance to play with your breachers,
Yeah. Oh goodness, right. Let's
I love Battlefleet Gothic.
Let's pull 1 or 2 questions out the thin air, and then we'll bounce. So Byzantine Varangian says, "Can other Space Marine chapters ride animals, or is it Space Wolf?" All right, so I'm gonna answer this with my usual persona when I'm in the Homebrew Strict channel. Not the homebrew casual stuff, not the, not this is maximum me being anal is the only way I can really answer this, because I would feel like I was lying to you if I answered it any other way. I think Space Marines riding animals is stupid as fuck. I think the Space Wolves doing it is honestly stupid as fuck. It's like, one of the big things that's always true to me when you're homebrewing Space Marines is you don't want their thematics to get in the way of their competency. And it's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
you're riding a wolf. This guy's riding a motorbike with machine guns attached to it. I'm sorry, I know where I'm putting my money. Tabletop rules and stats be damned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's
Like.
insanely stupid, and I think it only works in the Space Wolves because the Space Wolves, unlike any other chapter, have so many precedents that say, hey, canonically, the Space Wolves are dumbasses. And I mean that with pure
Mm-hmm.
sincerity. There are so many
Yeah.
things that tell you that the Space Wolves are like, part of their culture is to do stupid shit that no sane chapter would do.
Now listen,
Um,
Chaos Space Marines, on the other hand.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, yes. Yeah. This is the age-old thing we always come back to. You want to do crazy, stupid thing for Space Marines? Do it for Chaos Space Marines. Suddenly, yeah, absolutely. Oh man, I didn't expect to be. I didn't expect to bitch on the Space Wolves today. I thought we were going to avoid Space Marines today, and we ended up talking about the dumbest Space Marines. Holy shit! Chaos Space Marines are the best, Lord. Yes, absolutely. They're the most
I
fun
love
to
them so
homebrew,
much.
for sure. I
Mm-hmm.
love homebrewing Chaos Space Marines. Uh, One last question. Let's see if there's one that jumps at me. Maybe for you, Zarrek. Ultron Hydra asks, is there an inherent hierarchy to knight auxiliaries, or do they all serve explicitly the knight and no other command structure?
There is a hierarchy. It changes depending on the house, but typically speaking, they're not going to allow any old household guard to just walk up and speak to like a knight, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have the inner guard, right, who guard the knight household's actual keep, where the knight suits are kept. That's going to be a certain tier. They're going to have probably like a conscript tier, who is everyone else on the outside
Yeah.
doing their training and stuff. Then they're going to have like their like personal guard, their actual physical bodyguards, and they I do believe they have a rank for captains within the household guard.
Yeah.
Essentially, they have like captains and sergeants and things to keep things organized. Not good. Thanks for following.
Right. Are we happy to call it there?
I think that's a good place to end it for today.
Because Joe is online, and I think she's just started playing. Yeah, for less than 2 minutes, she's been playing Darktide.
Time to raid.
Oh, we do love our Joe plays, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Right, chat. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Enjoy this stream. It's a very alternative stream. Sorry for being a bit low energy this stream. I went to go see Backrooms earlier today. I didn't get much sleep last night. I spent the entirety of Friday and Saturday with Aaron. Um, it's been a interesting 36 hours. Anyways, the Backroom movie is very enjoyable. I'm a big fan of movies like that. You should definitely go see it and support alternatively produced Hollywood movies. It's the youngest director to ever like fully direct something with this kind of budget and cast. Only 21 years old. Kane Parsons should be praised for this. Even if you don't like the movie that much, it's a hell of an achievement for someone who's only 21 years old, and should definitely be
Mm-hmm.
praised and watched. Anything you want to say, Zarrek, before I hit the button?
Give me money.
Give her money. Don't even give me money. Don't even just send it to Zarrek. Send it by
Give me
messenger
money.
pigeon. Send her Hapneys and what's the other currency we used to have in England and the Tudors, sorry, Victoria, like the start of the Industrial Revolution.
Shillings.
Shillings. Send her an honest to goodness shilling. A real shilling. Right. Fuck it. Thank you all so much. We'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
And we are